has gathered to see one of the league's longest-running stories. Edmonton and Calgary have met in each of the last 4 Western finals. Every year they meet on Labor Day Monday, then come to Edmonton for the rematch at Commonwealth Stadium. It's about a province barely big enough for both of them. It's Edmonton and Calgary. The latest installment comes your way next. In 1993, Edmonton's road to the Grey Cup went through Calgary. It was a frosty Western final at McMahon Stadium. When Doug Flutie became too cold to continue, Calgary's season was over, leaving the Stampeders a long, cold winter to think about a loss to their arch rival.
Well, anytime you have 2 teams so close together, there's always going to be some kind of rivalry. For bragging rights, the intensity level will pick up.
In 1994, the Stampeders are back and better than ever. And on Monday, they got their first crack at revenge against the Eskimos. It was Stampeder domination from beginning to end. Doug Flutie and company ran wild in a 48-15 victory over the defending Grey Cup champions.
We came out, we beat them emotionally and physically, and that's what we wanted to do. We put it in their minds that we're going to be a team to reckon with throughout the year.
Tonight from Edmonton, Alberta's uncivil war continues on the CFL Live. Hi everybody, welcome to Commonwealth Stadium, where a hard rain is a-fallen and where the tale of 2 cities continues. It really is the best of times for Calgary, but their neighbors to the north have a couple of points that they'd like to make. 1, you don't get the Grey Cup for winning on Labor Day. And 2, not a single flake of snow has fallen yet this year. The Eskimos like to remind their neighbors to the south that it was here last year that a 10-game Calgary winning streak came to an end, the first of 3 consecutive Stampeder losses to the Eskimos. And as for the weather, hey, the Eskimos will take this for Doug Flutie any day. To talk more about the game, here are John Wells and Leif Pedersen.
All right, Gord, little doubt the Stampeders are the best team in Canadian football in 1994. There are no weaknesses on offense and none on defense either. A lot of folks are starting to talk about this Stampeder team and comparing it to the 1981 Edmonton Eskimos team. So what do you think? Which is the best of those two?
You know, I knew you'd ask me that one. You know, I think it's so tough to compare these 2 teams. I can tell you, John, that I think the easiest thing for me is to broadcast the Calgary Stampeders now than it was to play against those Eskimo teams that won 5 Grey Cup games in a row. I think what they should do is throw both teams into the computer, play that computer game like they like to now, and then you'd find out which is the best team.
You're on the fence on that one. Let me put it to you this way. The all-time great quarterback in Canadian football. Is it Doug Flutie?
Well, you know, I think it really is. If I had my choice to pick one quarterback of all that have ever played this game, I think I would take Doug Flutie. He can run to run, he can run to throw, he reads defenses so well, and you know, I don't think I've seen a quarterback ever that moves an offense quicker or easier down the field. He would be my guy, and I think that's the ultimate compliment I can pay to him.
Stampeder head coach Wally Buono has had terrific success, but not here at Commonwealth Stadium, where he has won only once in 7 appearances. Gord?
And the conditions here aren't likely to help tonight. It may not make the ticket sellers or the fans happy, but the Eskimo players delighted that it's pouring here at Commonwealth Stadium. They call it Eskimo weather, and they revel in the image of this team, which is it gets better as the weather gets worse. We'll see how it works out tonight.
The Eskimos started their run to the Grey Cup win over Calgary in this game last year, and rain might just be the difference here tonight. What do you think?
Well, I think it's going to be a huge factor in this ballgame, certainly in Edmonton's favor, but I think the difference really is Damon Allen, and he has to run the ball effectively. He is their leading rusher, and I think he has to be that in this game tonight for them to have any chance of winning the ballgame.
A rainy night at Commonwealth in Edmonton. We're ready to get the rematch underway. Conditions less than ideal, and the Calgary Stampeders do not like playing on this real turf at Commonwealth. Sean Fleming is ready to get the proceedings underway. 2 deep for the Calgary Stampeders. Wiggins and Coleman And this is Marvin Coleman. Slippery footing out there for number 17 already. So here comes Doug Flutie, who has done just about everything in his stint in Canadian football. On target for 44 touchdowns this season. The starting lineups brought to you by Speedy Autoglass. Windshield repair and replacement is a job for the pros, so don't take a chance. Take it to Speedy Autoglass.
Yeah, what those numbers don't show, John, is how effectively he has run the football. You talk about on pace for 44 touchdowns. He's on pace to go over 1,000 yards rushing, something he's never done in his career, and I know he wants to.
Trips formation near side, and Flutie goes to the far side. He's on target on his first pass. Waller made the stop. Travis Moore, number 83, the catch, a 5-yard gain. In Flutie's backfield, Blair Zur and Tony Stewart, who has been running up a storm. And a slight change is the outside receiver, with Wiggins drawing in to complement Pee Wee Smith on the outside. Sapunjas and Alan Pitts, two great ones inside.
The offensive line that does a good job blocking for Doug Flutie, pass protecting. Who wouldn't with him? He's able to avoid the rush so well. They've only given up 14 sacks, 4th in the league at this point.
Trips formation, 3 receivers, far side of the field. Flutie takes the direct snap, finds Stewart coming out of the backfield, well read by the Eskimos, as Don Wilson moves up to make the tackle. And the Stampeders are 2 and outs on a slippery field at Commonwealth.
And John, you know, I make little notes before the game of who I think has to play well for certain teams, and I think number 20, Don Wilson, a defensive back who plays the outside linebacker now for Edmonton, has to have a big game. They put a lot of pressure on him, and they use him a lot in coverage against Dave Sapunjas, and he has to have a large game for tonight, and already on the first series comes up with a pretty key defensive play. You like to establish a flow in the game early, and I think Edmonton's defense made a pretty good statement right there.
Here's Tony Martino, and a big charge was on. Martino booms this punt to the Giz. Henry Williams. Slippery turf, not a problem for the Giz on a decent return out near the 35. 46-yard punt and a 10-yard return for Henry Williams. Damon Allen has to have a better week than he had on Monday at McMahon Stadium in Calgary. Numbers for Allen: 11 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, and that's not good enough as far as the Eskimos are concerned.
Well, when you consider that he won a Grey Cup a year ago and came off such a huge high to begin this season, I would think that those numbers are extremely disappointing for not only him, but the entire team.
3 receivers to the far side as Allen looks in that direction and fires under the cover, intending that one for Michael Soles. Soles joins Lucius Floyd in the Eskimo backfield along with Damon Allen. Floyd averaging 4.2 yards a carry. The Eskimos struggling a little bit in their receiving core with Henry Williams and Eddie Brown outside, Jay Christensen, and a newcomer Mike Lee on the inside.
I think the pressure is clearly on the offensive line tonight. It's a mandate for them to be able to run the football, so the group up front has to pave the way for, you know, Soles, Floyd, and of course Damon Allen.
2nd and 10 for Allen from the 35. Here comes a little heat, and Allen can't get away from it. Grabbed by the ankles by Stu Laird, number 75. And for Stu Laird, that's sack number 3.
And sack number 26 on the season for a Calgary defense that only uses 4 people mostly to rush the quarterback. They do such a great job with that. And I think this sack also illustrates another point about this game tonight. The fact that the Edmonton receivers are just not up to par this year. Damon Allen had nobody open on that play to throw to at all.
Glenn Harper averaging 42 yards per punt. Coleman on the return. And he stopped just across the 45-yard line. 37-yard punt for Harper. And a second opportunity with the football for Doug Flutie. Flutie good on 64% of his passes so far in 1994. Definitely the league leader in that category.
You know, John, I talked about his rushing abilities and the fact that he's never had 1,000 yards rushing. He's on pace to get just over that. And, you know, the kind of fiery competitor that Doug Flutie is, and the fact he's 6,000 yards, 44 touchdowns, that's the one statistic that I think personally he would love to attain.
First down for Flutie and the Stampeders. Beginning at the Calgary 45, and the pitch goes to Stewart, trying the left side. Eskimos string him out briefly, but he'll come up stopped by Dan Murphy. Short of the first down, but he has a 9-yard gain. Defensively for the Eskimos up front, Malvin Hunter, Tony Woods, Benny Goods, and Leroy Blue. Blue having a superb season. Don Wilson is the nickelback. Larry Ruck in the middle, and the incomparable Willie Pless on the other side.
Pretty solid secondary. The one criticism I have is they're very reluctant to lock up Dan Murphy, the middle safety, in pass coverage. So against a 5-pack offense that Calgary likes to run, that means the linebacker Donnie Wilson then has a lot of man-to-man coverage with Dave Sapunjas tonight.
On 2nd and 1, Flutie is stopped, and we'll see where they spot the ball. Flutie himself. And they're going to have to measure this one as Glenn Rogers Jr. came up and got a hold of Doug Flutie. Check in with referee Dave Ewell. I don't think he made it. A year ago, the Stampeders won on Labor Day in Calgary, and then came up here to lose to the Eskimos in this particular game. And you see the indication there now. It is a first down for the Calgary Stampeders. They tossed Flutie back after he'd made the necessary yard. Stampeders with 3 receivers to the near side, a trips formation. And 1st and 10 as Flutie looks to the far side of the field. No catch over there. Rogers was covering, and so was Morris Lawler, number 25.
Well, the secondary is always on the hot seat when you play a Calgary team, and especially against Alan Pitts, and cuts out of that break so smoothly. Lawler comes up and puts a hit on him, and actually that hit jarred the ball loose. And you know, if you're an Edmonton defense right now, what you want to do to Pitts and Sapunjas, who I think are the keys, is try and get a hit on them at the line of scrimmage. I know it's gambling, I know it's risky, but I think that's the one way to slow these guys down.
From the Eskimo 53, 2nd and 10, Stampeders. Here comes the charge from Rogers. Flutie firing on the run, had his receiver, couldn't hang on, as Robert Holland was there covering on Pee Wee Smith. Smith had it, it squirted out of his hands. I don't know if he was actually in bounds or not, Lee, but it was pretty close.
And regardless of that, how many times have you seen Calgary receivers drop 2 balls in a row, and they did just that. Alan Pitts and now Pee Wee Smith with maybe a chance to make the catch here. Pretty good defensive strategy too. Glenn Rogers, John called it, coming on the hammer blitz, as they call it, from the short side of the field, the halfback. Little surprise on Flutie, chased him out of the pocket.
Again, the Stampeders forced to kick it away, but they did get 1 first down this time. Martino barely got that one. Bouncing down to Henry Williams near the 10-yard line, and markers are down. And a big charge on by the Eskimos this time. Martino lucky to get this one away. Closer look. We'll check that out in a minute. Here we go. Martino barely got it away. Still no score at Commonwealth in Edmonton. The rematch. Edmonton versus Calgary. No yards against the Stampeders on the punts, and the Eskimos will begin deep in Edmonton territory down around the 15-yard line. Will Johnson anchors a very solid Calgary front line alongside his Stu Lair. Lubo Zizakovic is in for brother Shreko this week, and Kenny Walker is at the right end spot. Then the linebacking core is awfully good. Alondra Johnson, Marvin Pope in the middle, and underrated Matt Finley.
Ken Leonard out at the inside halfback, and actually Marvin Coleman will play at the half, and Kraft stays out on the corner. Ken Leonard fractured a bone in his shoulder last week.
3 receivers to the near side, and the Eskimos keep it on the ground with the first carry by Lucius Floyd. Floyd following in behind like Dumaresque, number 53. Not a whole bunch of yardage there, a couple of yards. We'll call it 3, 2nd and 7.
You know, John, you look at what both teams would like to try and do tonight. Obviously, Edmonton has to run the ball effectively to win this game, but you know, they're only averaging about 98 yards a game, much less than they normally do. But you look at Calgary, and can they? Heck, they're the #1 rushing defense in the league, so that sets up a pretty interesting confrontation.
3 receivers to the near side, and Lucius Floyd carries that across the 25-yard line. It should be an Eskimo first down. No penalty markers anywhere. The Eskimos said They really wanted to run the ball more effectively this week, and they had to be more effective than last week.
Well, it's tough when you're playing catch-up to run the football, but that time a nice solid hole over the right side opens it up for Lucius Floyd. When you're deep in your own end, I mean, it's nice to be able to get yourself out of trouble with the running game.
Floyd has the first down and gets the call again. He's out across the 30-yard line to about the 31. And stopped there by Pope and Zizakovic. Lucius Floyd averaging 4.2 yards per carry. Last week he carried 5 times for 10 yards. And the Eskimos only rushed for 22 yards in total last week.
Yeah, sometimes that's a little misleading. You know, you get down in ball games and you just can't stay with your game plan of wanting to keep it on the ground. Floyd's still looking for his first rushing touchdown of the year, and that seems rather surprising as well.
This is 2nd and 5. Allen over the middle and incomplete. Intending that for number 33, Lucius Floyd. And Marvin Pope was covering on Floyd. Damon Allen's numbers last week, 14 of 28, 1 interception. He's averaging 52% on the season.
Well, we saw Marvin Pope leave the league. Is there a better middle linebacker in the league right now than Pope? I don't think so.
It's hard to think of anyone better. Harper's kick. Coleman waits near the 35. Decent return for Coleman on a slippery field. He's out across the 40 at about the 43. Stopped there by Trent Brown. And there is a penalty marker on the field at Commonwealth. No score and 8:26 to go, first quarter.
The CFL Live on TSN. Today's game from Edmonton is brought to you by Pepsi. Be young, have fun, drink Pepsi. And by Mark's Work Warehouse, closed at work.
Rainy night at Commonwealth. Everyone's wet. The Eskimos just took a face masking penalty on their special teams cover on the Calgary punt return. So now the Stampeders out across midfield with pretty good place to begin this drive at the Eskimo 52.
Yeah, it was on Trent Brown, but you talk about nice place to start a drive. Really, no points have been scored in this half yet, but Calgary clearly has had the best field position of the two teams and easiest place to operate.
Stampeders beginning at the Eskimo 53 with a first down. Flutie fires quickly near side for Moore. That's Travis Moore, number 83.
John, you look at the Calgary Stampeders this year, and where they kill other teams is really in the first half. Look at these numbers and look at the opponent's numbers. I mean, first quarter, they just have great first quarters, which is traditionally your weakest quarter offensively. And look at the second quarter, incidentally, is their best quarter overall. So they just bury you early, and then it's so tough to come back against it.
2nd and 5, Stampeders. 3 receivers far side, and Flutie looks in that direction. He's picked off. Intercepted by Don Wilson. Wilson looking for a block. Finally wrestled down, and that might be a face masking call against Calgary near the 45. Pee Wee Smith made the tackle, and that one seemed to get away from Doug Flutie.
Well, that's one of those things where a quarterback sometimes just doesn't see the coverage he's throwing into. Donnie Wilson, we suggested he had to have a big game. Watch the punches come up. Wilson comes right into that area there. He comes up with a key interception. Actually, that's his first of the year, but you know, hey, what a way to start the game on defense for the Edmonton Eskimos. This has been a solid quarter for them. Pretty good pressure so far in a couple of series. Glenn Rogers earlier, and now Willie Pless coming on that pressure, and maybe Flutie just ducked and threw it and didn't see Wilson at all. But, you know, I suggested this was one player that had to have a big game. They put a lot of pressure on him, and boy, has he responded early.
And after Wilson's interception, tack on the penalty for face masking, and the Eskimos are set up at the Stampeder 27. Here's Lucius Floyd, finds a bit of a hole, and he narrows in on a first down. Stopped by Marvin Pope, number 91.
Gentlemen, we've talked a lot about it before the game that Edmonton would obviously have to run the ball more. That was not lost on the Calgary Stampeders, who expect to see Damon Allen a lot, but who also said before this game they thought Lucius Floyd might have a big night if they weren't able to stop him, because they felt Edmonton would go to him a lot on the ground and with short passes.
He's already had a bigger game than he did on Labor Day, Gord. 9 yards on that carry. This is 2nd and 1. And that should be another Eskimo first down.
And John, once you get inside Calgary's 20-yard line, do they become stingy or what? They only lead the league in 5 categories, and we put an asterisk down on the last statistic there, first downs. They lead in that category. They have given up the fewest first downs of any other defensive in the league, and I think is the key. That means that their offense is on the field a lot.
16.6 points a game also shows just how stingy the Stampeders are.
And here's where you can expect the Calgary Stampeders to blitz. When they're backed up, they usually come with some extra heat.
Eskimos send 3 receivers far side of the field on a first down just outside the 15. Allen looks over there, has Souls, touchdown! Whoa! '17-yard touchdown. Michael Souls. Eskimos take advantage of the turnover. And that's the second receiving touchdown this season for Michael Souls. Big start for the Eskimos.
Yeah, play action elusives Floyd. Look how it freezes everybody. Michael Souls sneaks out of the backfield, blown coverage on the blitz, and easy trip into the end zone. That has been one of the best plays that Edmonton has run for years and years. They used to do it with Blake Marshall, and they do the little play action, sneak the fullback in the flat, and it worked to perfection.
On the Don Wilson interception, the Eskimos are set up deep inside Stampeder territory. And from there, Damon Allen tosses 17 yards to Michael Souls. Souls hits the end zone, and the Eskimos have a 7-0 lead at Commonwealth in Edmonton. The rematch is on. It should be a great one. Slow start for the Eskimos, or at least that's the way it appeared, but then the defense got the ball back for Damon Allen, and he hit Michael Souls for the game's first touchdown. And back at Commonwealth Live now on a rainy night. 5:34 to go in the opening quarter. And here's Sean Fleming's kickoff after the 7 points for Edmonton. Harlan Coleman from the 20. And out near the 35. Stopped by Trent Brown, number 28.
All right, let's go back to that touchdown one more time, and I'm going to show you the value of play action. Here's Michael Souls right here. He can only be covered by one of 2 people, either Alondra Johnson there or Greg Knox here. Now, when Floyd goes that way, Knox goes this way, so now it has to be Alondra Johnson, who I circled first. Watch her. He's coming on the blitz. Hey, there's nobody left. Michael Souls all alone catches it. Easy touchdown. But that's what play action can do to a blitzing defense.
Back live now, 1st and 10, Stampeders 35. Good play action by Flutie, far side of the field. He has Alan Pitts. And we'll see where they spot the ball. Glenn Rogers covering on Pitts that time. Not an easy job for Rogers tonight.
Oh, it's not an easy job. He is so fluid out of the breaks. Watch there. He doesn't have to. He breaks down a little more than normal because of the wet field. But, I mean, that is an impossible pattern to cover. You look at Pitts' numbers projecting out to around 120 receptions, which would break his old record of 118.
2nd and inches after the Pitts reception. 3 receivers near side, and Stampeders simply follow Flutie. Should be a first down, no markers anywhere, and that is the indication. Gord?
You know, John, there's only one criticism I've ever heard of Doug Flutie in the CFL, and that was what we talked about earlier, that maybe he doesn't do well under very bad conditions. I told that to Flutie before the game. He said, it's up to me to prove the doubters wrong. But I think he wants to prove his detractors and to himself that he can do well when the weather's really bad.
It's a little bad tonight for the Stampeders, who prefer to play on artificial turf. Flutie in some difficulty here. Can he escape any goods? Still going, and Flutie gets away from one more tackler and somehow turns it into a miracle first down. No markers are down. And Flutie looked to be in deep trouble and ran away from it.
Well, he's unbelievable. You'll see 40 Benny Goods with a shot at him right there, and poof, he's gone. And still looking now. That's run time. A little fake on Glenn Rogers, and out of all that mess, lo and behold, Flutie picks up a first down. You don't think he's tough to defense? I mean, I don't know a defensive coordinator in the league that has a great plan. I mean, you have a great plan. It's just whether you can do it. Sure, we want to get pressure on Flutie. Well, you just got pressure on him, and he picks up a first down. So
it's interesting the way he runs the football too, Leaf. I mean, he slowed down, changed the motion a little bit on the way he was, or changed his speed a little bit, and stopped a couple of Eskimos from charging him, and somehow picked up the 10 yards for the first down.
It seems uncanny. Travis Moore is the injured Calgary player downfield, and you know, when the scramble starts at quarterback, I usually set my eyes downfield to see which of the receivers is really working hard to try and get open for their quarterback. And Travis Moore tried to really put on the brakes and come back towards Flutie, and the feet went out from underneath him. And, you know, you have to think on a night like tonight that the pulled groins and the hamstrings, those types of injuries. But I asked Doug Flutie, we had breakfast with Doug this morning about Travis Moore, and he said this guy is awesome. He's a tremendous athlete, and of course Will Moore out is giving Travis Moore some playing time. Had a touchdown last week against
I can't remember if Flutie bought this morning or we bought.
We bought.
Yeah, I guess we did, didn't we?
You kidding?
First and 10, Stampeders. Flutie at the controls, and that Stewart stopped by Don Wilson. Gain is 4 yards for the Stampeders on that play. Good field position, Calgary. Wally Buono, two-time CFL Coach of the Year, 71% successful as a head coach in the CFL. Ron Lancaster closing in on that 500 mark, 38-49. Looking back to his years in Saskatchewan, but his years with the Eskimos rather successful. Second and 6, Stampeders. Eskimo 49, trips formation near side. Flutie goes to the opposite side, looking for Pitts out there, and he's off target.
Edmonton Eskimos intent on putting a little more pressure on Flutie tonight, taking their chances. Watch Larry Ruck, the linebacker, and Willie Pless is coming too, kind of on a buzz technique. You see, he's half speed, and once Stewart takes him, he kind of backs out of there. But so far, an excellent defensive plan here in the first quarter by the Eskimos. And believe me, it's all predicated on some pass rush up front and no coverage breakdowns.
3 minutes left in the opening quarter with the Eskimos leading 7-0. It's the rematch at Commonwealth. Not much heat on Martino to get this one away, and he plays it out of bounds far side, so there'll be no return for the Gizmo.
You know, John, you can really see it in this game, too, that Calgary so far in the first quarter, the receivers aren't running nearly as free downfield as they normally do, and there's two factors. Edmonton's getting a hit on a lot of them about the 6-7 yard mark, which obviously throws the patterns off a little bit, slows them down, and the field is really a factor. They're not making the breaks nearly as crisply as they usually do. So, you know, when teams say, hey, what's the best way to play Edmonton? Well, it's best to play them with a bad weather and a bad field. And it's literally true. It's kind of funny, but it's true.
Yeah, they're not known as the Eskimos for nothing. When it gets a little colder, they play even better. Right now, it's Edmonton leading 7-0. First down, Damon Allen. Looking to avoid Finley far side, and Finley read it well. Allen forced out.
Ron Lancaster and I had breakfast as well. I had two breakfasts this morning.
Yeah, well, I was with you for two of them, and I didn't pay for either one, so you must have bought them both.
Well, Ronnie and I had the first one together, and he said when they run that bootleg to the weak side, he said the only guy that always scares me is Matt Finley. And that time, Matt Finley was not fooled at all. The captain of the defense, look there, he calls all the defenses. But he wasn't fooled at all, forced Damon Allen to go out of bounds, and they lose 5. But this guy, you talk about underrated. This guy is underrated, number 37.
Eskimos with trips formation near side. Allen facing 2nd and 15. And Eddie Brown was the intended target. Douglas Kraft, number 3, covering on Brown.
And it's a formation they put in for this game where they move Eddie Brown back out to the wide receiver, overload to the wide side. Now they know they get single coverage backside. This is predetermined. They're going to come to him on the post, and Damon Allen just overthrew it. But I think you see the effects of the wet field. Eddie Brown didn't make that plant and cut as hard as he normally might on a dry field, so really slowing down both teams.
Good kick, and there's no chance for a return as Coleman had to back right out of bounds near the 36-yard line on Harper's punt.
Well, John, we showed a graphic earlier of how Calgary has been blowing out their opponents in the first and second quarters. Look at these 4 first possessions. You don't think the Edmonton defense is up for the challenge tonight? 3 punts and a pick by Donnie Wilson. Nice way to start the game on defense.
And Harper gets the Eskimos back on the right side of things with a 54-yard punt and no return. So the Stampeders lose a little ground in the exchange and are back inside the 40. Flutie to his right, surrounded quickly, and now gets it away for Sapunjas, the safety valve. Penalty marker far side of the field. We'll check that out. Tony Woods with a stop on Dave Sapunjas. Sapunjas, the CFL's outstanding Canadian in 1993.
Edmonton, number 46. 5-yard penalty. First down repeat.
It's Melvin Hunter, number 46. Could be the break the Stampeders needed to keep this drive alive. Now 1st and 5 from the 43.
Well, the one thing about Calgary, I don't think you're ever going to worry if they're going to generate some offense throughout the game. You know they will. It's just more or less a matter of when.
Flutie from the shotgun. 3 receivers far side of the field. The 5-pack is in, and Flutie had it on target, but a great play by Robert Holland foiled that. And Flutie talks it over with his receiver.
Yeah, one thing Flutie's signaling right now, and I'll tell you what happens, is he's saying to Alan Pitts, hey, you better come back to me when you make that break. And on the wet field, he has to break down more than normal. Now, he kind of says, I want you to come straight back. That's where Doug Flutie threw the ball. And actually, Robert Holland, who was breaking on it, had a better chance to make the catch than Alan Pitts did. But on a wet field, you better work hard back to your quarterback.
Holland was in the doghouse last week for 2 stupid penalties and got the hook in the 4th quarter in Calgary. Here's Flutie. Out of the cover for Tony Stewart. This will be a first down Calgary. And Holland is there along with Ed Berry, who actually makes the tackle. Robert Holland was there to slow Stewart down. Berry made the tackle. Stewart is having a sensational season. 13 touchdowns to lead the league in that category. 10 rushing and 3 receiving touchdowns. 16 yards on that play.
It's a good shot at the league record in touchdowns of 20, and I think if he stays healthy, should have a great shot at it. But I think Doug Flutie's going to have to use Stewart more here because Edmonton is intent on jamming the inside receivers. That means you dump it to your backs quick and let them run with it.
And there's Stewart getting the call. Met by Ruck, number 47, and by Benny Goods, number 40.
No, I already mentioned Calgary's defense, how tough they are against the run, number 1. Well, Edmonton's is close behind at number 3, so, you know, it's kind of difficult. Last week, Stewart only had 40 yards on the ground. It was Doug Flutie's 60 that got them over the 100 mark, but, you know, this is a tough team to run against as well.
Gain is 3. This should be the last play of the quarter. Zeros on the clock, 2nd and 7, facing the Stampeders. Shotgun for Flutie. And Stewart makes the catch. He'll have a first down. Tony Stewart forced out by Holland and Larry Ruck. And that's quarter 1 with the Eskimos taking advantage of a Don Wilson interception and moving in front of the Stampeders 7-0. Welcome back to a rainy night at Commonwealth in Edmonton, where the Eskimos lead the Stampeders 7-0 as we get set to begin the 2nd quarter. Calgary on a drive now after a 17-yard gain by Tony Stewart. And the Stampeders set up at the Edmonton 30-yard line. Chance to get even right now.
So, John, this morning when we had breakfast with Doug Flutie and, of course, Dave Sapunjas, it's funny, I said to Sponge, I said, you know, who's the toughest defense sometimes you play against? And he said, my own in practice. He said, every day we run the hurry-up offense, and in that particular period, the defense gets to do whatever they want. And, of course, we run our hurry-up offense. And he said, the battles are unbelievable. And he said the defense gets a little more excited about it than we do, but what a great test in practice to get to run against the best defense in the league at the same time.
It'll be 1st and 10 Stampeders. Flutie from the shotgun with time to throw, looking deep, and he overthrew his intended receiver. That was Brian Wiggins that time. And coverage supplied by Ed Berry. First downs for the Eskimos, just 3, in spite of the fact that they have the 7 points on the board. In net yards, 37 for Edmonton, 81 for the Stampeders. One turnover, and that cost the Stampeders a touchdown. And again, Stampeders lead in that all-important time of possession category. But still, it's the Eskimos by 7 on the scoreboard. 2nd and 10, Calgary. Edmonton 31. Trips formation, actually 4 receivers to the near side. And Flutie looking to the corner far side of the field. Is it picked off? Yes, by Glenn Rogers, and it's going the other way. Rogers stayed in. Flutie has been picked twice by the Eskimo secondary. Travis Moore, the newcomer, was the intended receiver. So Wilson has 1, and Rogers has 1.
It's a heck of an interception. He has to go up and fight the ball away from Travis Moore, but again, he's in perfect position right on the inside hip, and only a perfect throw would have enabled maybe Moore to make the catch. He still probably would have been out of bounds, but for Glenn Rogers Jr., his 2nd interception of the year, and once again, the Edmonton defense, you know, hey, I'm sure the pride was nicked a little last week, and they have come out with a renewed vigor tonight in this rematch.
Rogers has the interception. Allen has the ball for the Eskimos and gives it to Lucius Floyd. Gain about 3 yards. As the Eskimos began at the 25 after the interception. I just had the feeling that the Stampeders, after watching them last week and over the past couple of weeks, were going in for the score from there, and we're going to be even. But Rogers makes a heck of a difference to the Eskimos, and it's still 7-0 Edmonton. Brown to the near side. Henry Williams flanked to the far side of the field. This is 2nd and 7. Allen goes deep for Floyd. He's got it. It's a big first down, Edmonton. Out across the 40-yard line and way into Stampeder territory. Finally caught by the last man back, Greg Knox. Big play for the Eskimos from the 25-yard line all the way down, a 42-yard gain.
And you sure have to like the call here. Damon Allen sends everybody out. They pick everybody up on the pass rush well, and that's a pretty decent matchup. Lucius Floyd against Alondra Johnson. Alondra Johnson's an excellent linebacker in pass coverage, but to his credit, Floyd adjusted to the throw by Allen where he put
He really did. He looked
outside.
both ways over both shoulders and came up with a catch for a 42-yard gain. Here's Allen running himself. No doubt that he was going to carry that time, and Allen now has a first down for the Eskimos. There's a penalty marker down. Could be a late hit on Raymond Biggs, number 44, or Gerald Vaughn, I should say, 38. Let's see how the call goes.
Unnecessary roughness. Calgary number 38. Hit out of bounds. First down.
14-yard gain will stand, and they'll tack some yardage on top of this one.
Well, you see it right at the end as he's going out of bounds, and clearly out of bounds. That's a good call by the officials. You got to protect those marquee players in the league. But have a look at this. It's the fake right here as he comes out in the bootleg. That's all you want, is to influence everybody down and let Damon Allen have half a step. See, he's got half a step on Will Johnson now. There's no way they can defend against that. It's the play action. Once again, that's their real weapon.
Here's Allen on first down, looking to the end zone. Not quite. Brown was the intended receiver. Or rather, Mike Lee, number 8, in a puddle in the end zone.
Once again, though, it's play action. I mean, that's a run by Damon Allen. Play action now allows Michael Lee to get open. Should have made the catch right here. Would have been 14-0. If you want to beat the #1 team in the league, when you have a chance to make the big play, you better make it. But play action again froze people just enough, and that's a good matchup. Lee against Coleman. Coleman starting his first game. Boy, that is wet. You need snorkels down in that corner.
That's pretty funny. 2nd and 10, Eskimos at the Stampeder 13. Edmonton leading by 7. Here's Allen looking for Floyd out of the backfield. Markers are down, but Floyd's in the end zone. Lucius Floyd, a couple of big plays in this drive, but let's check out the infraction. Indication is against the Stampeders. Here's David Ewell.
Illegal contact on an eligible receiver. Calgary number 17. Penalties declined. Touchdown.
Touchdown stands, a 13-yard reception by Lucius Floyd. The Eskimos said they had to do a couple of things to get back to even with the Calgary Stampeders after the Labor Day loss. They had to get Lucius Floyd a little more involved running the ball as well as receiving. And Damon Allen had to do a little more running himself. Well, both were key parts of this drive. Floyd into the end zone for his third receiving touchdown of the season. And still Lucius Floyd doesn't have a touchdown on the ground. But he does have one tonight, and the Eskimos have a 14-0 lead on Calgary at Commonwealth.
What's amazing to me tonight is to see how effectively Edmonton's offense has taken advantage of the Calgary linebackers, a very difficult thing to do. Watch Jay Christensen come in here. Eddie Brown comes in here. Now, Floyd's going to go out in the flat. That means that Alondra Johnson right here has to fight through all this traffic to get out there and get him, and that's almost an impossible task, as you will see the end result. But usually you can't take advantage of Calgary's linebackers. In this particular case, there's the separation. Floyd's going to make the catch. In this case, they beat the linebackers once again. They beat them earlier on Mike Souls' touchdown reception, and boy, oh boy, Calgary's offense, which has been much maligned by the local media and from a lot of other people nationally, sure looks good in this first half.
An impressive scoring drive, 5 plays to cover 85 yards by the Eskimos. Quickly, too, in a time of 2:20, Lucius Floyd with a 13-yard reception. He was also a big part of the drive with a 42-yard gain prior to that. So Lucius Floyd, a big factor in the Eskimo offense tonight.
Yeah, and as much as anything, John, it's the formations that Edmonton is using that is creating those matchups. You know, 3 receivers, and then Floyd is your 4th receiver. They have no choice but to have a linebacker cover them, and it's the formations that set up your matchups.
14-0 for the Eskimos as Coleman tries to give the Stampeders field position here. Slowed down and dropped near the 30-yard line. It was Bruce Dixon there, and it's Gord Miller here.
Thanks very much, John. Talking to Leroy Blue on the sidelines down here, guys. Did he do anything differently on defense? He says, no, we're playing exactly the same defense we did on Monday. He says, there's a big difference. He said, on Monday we played. Today we're making plays. He says, that's a huge difference. That's been the difference so far.
6 of 14 for Doug Flutie so far, 53 yards. They have controlled Flutie. No touchdowns on the board. He's been intercepted twice, and both turnovers have gone for Eskimo touchdowns. Flutie rolling and firing well short of the first down as Willie Pless stepped up to make the tackle on Brian Wiggins. Ruck is also involved, number 47. Tough to beat those two characters, 47 and 39 in the Eskimo scheme of things. Willie Pless, the Eskimos' outstanding player, 9 quarterback sacks last year. Larry Ruck leading the team in tackles with 56. 2nd and 4 as Flutie looks to the near side and fires in a hurry. Sapunjus had it go through his mitts, and you don't see that happen very often. Sapunjus got open and couldn't squeeze it.
Yeah, they were riding him pretty hard at the Edmonton bench when he ran into that bench, giving him the good trash talk over there. But you don't see that often, and it sets up nicely. Doug Flutie eludes the pass rush there, and Dave Sapunjus finds the soft spot in an open area. So good at that. And one thing, he just didn't hang on to the football. You don't see that very often.
You don't see the Stampeders punting this frequently in the opening half of a football game. Martino is in again. Standing back near his 20-yard line. 10:46 till halftime. Low snap. Martino digs it out and gets a pretty good one away. We're waiting for the first big return by the Guzmo. And we'll wait a little longer. Leading the Stampeder tacklers, number 44, Raymond Biggs. 48-yard punt for Martino. And the green and gold Eskimos are in top, 14-0.
For CFL excitement.
The Edmonton Eskimos have won 3 of the last 4 meetings between these two teams. They've had more success against Doug Flutie than any other team in the league. So we asked linebacker Willie Pless exactly how the Eskimos stopped Flutie.
I don't think anyone has figured it out as of yet to contain him. He's just a great quarterback. You have to give him a lot of credit. He knows how to read. He knows how to make some big things happen for his offense and for his team. But the thing that we have to do is, first of all, take away the pass. Doug hasn't been looking to run the ball very much. if he has to run, he will. But that's what we have to do, is not pay too much attention to him as far as running, and take care of our job assignment as far as the pass.
And the taunt on the sidelines that Dave Sapunjas was, this isn't your kind of day. It'll be even worse for the Western Final. So the trash talk leaf is well underway.
Eskimos with a 1st and 10 beginning at the 36. Damon Allen for Lucius Floyd. And not too much for Floyd that time. Pope was in the middle of things, and so was Johnson there. Well, Will Johnson. Sorry, Lee.
John, you look at what a middle linebacker sees sometimes and what keys that he tries to read. He knows Edmonton likes to run the counter, so when Blake Dermott goes that way, who do you think goes that way too? And Marvin Pope will meet Lucius Floyd right in the hole. Hey, tackle trap, I know where Floyd's going to be, and boom, there's Big Daddy right in there to fill the hole.
Gain is 4. This will be 2nd and 6. Eskimos out across the 37. Allen with time goes deep for the gives, and he's underthrown. And this one is picked off going back the other way by Greg Knox. And for Knox, leading the Stampeders in interceptions this season, that is number 6 in the season. First interception given up by Damon Allen.
Why, has he ever brought the level of his game up this year? Greg Knox in his 3rd year with the Stampeders, 2nd year as a full-time starter, and he does everything he asks. Middle center field, just slides over and helps out Junior Thurman. Thurman knows he's going to get help to the inside. That's why he takes the outside position. And who's there but Greg Knox with his 6th pick of the year. And, you know, Glenn Suter was the all-Canadian safety and still is a heck of a safety. But Greg Knox is knocking on the door in that department, too.
First turnover going the Stampeders' way. Flutie sends a trip formation to the near side and looks in this direction. Wiggins can't hang on. It's going back the other way. Picked up by Dan Murphy. And that's 3 interceptions by Flutie. And only 1 against the Eskimos. That one, though, bounced out of the hands of his intended receiver and right to number 24, Dan Murphy. Second interception of the season for Murphy.
Yeah, 3rd of the night now for Flutie in the first half. Very unusual, but you can't fault him here. One of the statistics that will look bad on his record, but Wiggins should have made the catch, and Murphy with the easy interception. And, you know, for a team like Edmonton who has struggled, and you get a chance against the #1 team in the league to bury them, boy, you have a great chance here. You're ahead 14-0. You got the turnover, and hey, if they can ever put another one on the board, this is when you got to put the hammer down.
1 for Wilson, 1 for Rogers, now 1 for Dan Murphy, and the Eskimos are set up inside the Stampeder 40-yard line at the 39. Time for Allen, swings it out for Lucius Floyd, and Floyd turns it into a 1st down. Marvin Coleman forced him out. And number 33, Lucius Floyd, is quick to help up one of the cameramen on the sidelines. An 11-yard gain for Lucius.
Yeah, when Calgary plays his own, here's Marvin Coleman. If he stays here, you throw it up here. If he goes back like he did, you watch what happens. They're going to hit Floyd in the flat. They play a game against a halfback right there. He can't do the right thing, and Floyd catches an easy one in the flat, and Damon Allen knows his receiving core is struggling, so what does he do? He uses the backs in the passing game. Smart move.
Little play action by Allen this time on 1st down. And he has Brown short of the 1st down, but good yardage nonetheless. Douglas Kraft forced Brown out of bounds.
Hey, John, I'm impressed with Damon Allen tonight. You know, Ron Lancaster made no secret about it to me. He said, hey, Eddie Brown and our entire receiving core is struggling right now. Henry Williams, Jay Christensen, and Eddie makes the catch there. But, you know, Damon Allen knows this too, so he's gone to plan B. Yeah, we still got to throw the ball, but I'm going to get my backs involved in tonight's offense, and oh, what a job they have done in the first half. I'm impressed.
And it is a 10-yard gain for Brown and the Eskimos. Now set up at the Stampeder 17 with a 1st down. Play action. Faked it to Floyd and then threw it to Lucius Floyd, and he makes the catch. Marvin Pope, number 91, made the tackle on Lucius Floyd, and what a difference a couple of days makes. What a difference real grass makes to these Eskimos.
I think what a difference the whole scheme makes. I mean, it is a play-action scheme to try and take advantage of Calgary's linebackers. Those are the numbers. I think 102 yards at this point, halfway through the 2nd quarter. Damon Allen would be thrilled with that. But it's the scheme that Ron Lancaster's offense is using tonight that's working. Put pressure on Calgary's linebackers with play action.
Lucius Floyd, 4 receptions, 75 yards, 1 touchdown. And he almost had 5 catchable football, I thought, but Floyd was covered by Greg Knox and might have turned just a little too quickly.
Well, I think it was a good call. You know, now they got 3rd and short, less than a yard, so they will gamble, but why not on 2nd and short? You had Floyd, a matchup, Greg Knox, a long way for him to come. He didn't hang on to the football, but still, the scheme has been good. Edmonton's put a heck of a game plan here together in just a few days' time.
3 receivers split to the far side. This will be 3rd down, less than a yard to go. Lucius Floyd tries to get outside, and let's see where they spot the ball. Should be a 1st down for the Eskimos.
Pretty good read by Alondra Johnson, though. This is going to be close.
It is a 1st down. No measurement required, says Dave Ewell. And the Eskimo drive continues. Deep inside the Calgary zone. 7:15 till halftime. The Eskimos are in front, 14-0. From the 7-yard line, it's 1st and goal to go. This is Lucius Floyd, and he can't get anywhere against Pope and Will Johnson, number 81. It'll be 2nd down. Looked like he had more yardage than he ended up with.
Yeah, that hole closed up in a hurry. It was good cutback by Floyd right here. You'll see 38, Gerald Vaughn, come in too and makes the 1st hit. And of course, Will Johnson wraps up, but you're right. That hole closed in a hurry.
2nd and goal to go. And the ball spotted on the 5-yard line. Allen has the touchdown. That's Michael Souls. 2nd touchdown of the game for Michael Souls. 3rd touchdown by the Eskimos after a turnover. 3 for 3. Souls has 2. Lucius Floyd has 1.
Boy, and John, I look back to this team a year ago. That's what they did as well or better than anybody else. Take advantage of the turnovers and really make you pay for your mistakes. And watch this, David Allen. He knows what he's looking for. He gets it. Pope doesn't get there quick enough, and Michael Souls has his 2nd. You know, I heard an interview with Stu Laird the other day, and he said the only way teams can beat us is if they take advantage of our mistakes. We don't make many. They've made 3 critical ones in this 1st half, and they've had 21 points scored against them.
Michael Souls has a couple of touchdowns, the 1st and the 3rd. Damon Allen has tossed for 3, and the Eskimos are celebrating for now. A 21-0 lead in the Calgary Stampeders. 5:57 to go till halftime. Really figured the Eskimos had to be better than what they showed on Labor Day at McMahon, but this much better, I don't think so. 21-0. Edmonton leading Calgary.
Well, let's go back to the touchdown again. Here are your one-on-one matchups right here. These two guys. Now, Matt Finley, he's got Mike Souls right here. Watch just as Souls goes here. He cuts in underneath him. Finley kind of just lets him go, and that's pretty easy touchdown. David Allen's looking at Souls all the way, and you know, Marvin Pope can't get over to help, and Souls gets his 2nd of the night. Their offense is functioning at 110%.
Here's Coleman on the return for the Stampeders. And special teams are functioning well, led by John Kalin, graduate of the University of Calgary. And Errol Martin.
He's an old quarterback, John Kalin. What's he doing making tackles down there?
Well, he's an old D-back, too. 7 plays to go, 39 yards. 3rd Eskimo touchdown, as mentioned, as the results of a Doug Flutie interception.
Well, John, I haven't been able to say this very often this year doing Calgary games, but I think this is a very critical series for Calgary to try and restore some confidence to probably a pretty shell-shocked group right now.
This is Stewart's, and he has plenty for a 1st down. Stopped by Robert Holland, number 17. Tony Stewart. And the numbers on Doug Flutie, not what we've come to expect in 1994. But there's a long way to go, folks. 5:16 to go in the ball game, or until halftime, I should say. 7 of 17 for 59 yards. And on the previous play, Tony Stewart grabbed 14 for a Stampeder first down. Calgary now out at the 32-yard line, and Stewart got it again. Ruck and Hunter, 46 and 47. All over Tony Stewart that time, and there's no gain.
John, that's just desire. Mal Hunter just demolished the block of the fullback, Blair Zur, and so often the fullback has the critical block on that, and if you can't get it, your running back has no place to go. Melvin Hunter just slashed through and made a heck of a play.
2nd and 10 as Flutie sends 3 receivers to the far side, and now he has 4 out there with a 5-pack in for the Stampeder offense. Flutie himself, and he was running all the way, but Hunter read it all the way. Number 46. Different Eskimo team from Monday in Calgary. And Hunter's been mentioned a lot tonight. He's having a whale of a game.
Yeah, he really is. Those are 2 big plays in a row for Melvin Hunter. Flutie, quarterback draw, usually pretty successful, but the lane closes down in a hurry. And boy, you know, this is a Calgary team. Hey, you're 8-1. I mean, you can't be playing at your highest level in every game. And Edmonton's at a high level, and Calgary can't get up to their usual level.
In fairness, the Eskimos had to be better than they were at McMahon, because there weren't very many bright spots on Labor Day in Calgary for the guys in green and gold. Little early movement. Robert Holland, number 17. Holland had a tough week last week.
Offside. Edmonton number 17. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down repeat.
So now it's 3rd and 2.
I don't think this is gambling time, do you?
No, I don't think so right
now. The Stampeders are on the field inside their 40 with 4:06 to go till halftime. Martino averaging 43.2 yards per punt on the season. And Tony standing at his 25. Henry Williams from his 31. And somehow he found his way to the 40-yard line. Raymond Biggs leading the Stampeder tacklers. 39-yard punts and about an 8-yard return for the little guy, Henry Gizmo Williams. Allen hot hands so far. He's converted 3 turnovers for touchdowns. 2 tosses to Michael Souls, 1 to Lucius Floyd. 107 yards so far. 1 interception. Didn't cost the Eskimos anything. Gord?
A major penalty to Edmonton will set Damon Allen the offense back, but even though there's a lot of people that bill this as Allen against Flutie, Damon Allen does not. He says he does not consider it to be him against the other quarterback. What he did say to me yesterday was he wants to play as well as he can in games that get watched a lot, so that people maybe will think of him as one of the premier quarterbacks in the league. It's hard to imagine a 2-time Grey Cup MVP not getting his due, but that's been Damon Allen's story.
Well, there's some pretty good talent at the top of the heap. When you look to Flutie and to Austin and to Dunnigan. Unnecessary roughness was charged against Glenn Rogers, and the Eskimos were starting deep in their own zone. Lucius Floyd cornered there by Marvin Pope, number 91. And the gain is 1 yard. Eskimos had a tough time rushing the ball against the Stampeder defense last week. Just 22 yards. And already the Eskimos have 50 tonight. 2nd and 9 here. Allen got it away just in time. Christensen, number 87, couldn't make the catch. He was in front of Gerald Vaughn, number 38. So far, Damon Allen is winning his return duel against Doug Flutie. The Eskimos on top, 21-0. It's 21-0. Eskimos leading the Stampeders into the final 2:47 of the opening half on a soggy Commonwealth turf here in Edmonton. Harper's kick is not deep. Stampeders will get good field position and yards added on. Smith stopped by John Callan, and Callan was in a little too close. So here comes Doug Flutie, and the storyline so far has been all Eskimos. Brought to you by Dodge Trucks, reinventing the truck. Eskimos turn 3 Calgary turnovers into 3 touchdowns. Allen has the 3 touchdown passes. Souls on the receiving end of 2. Now things turning around a little bit, Lee, for the Stampeders.
Well, I don't think as an Edmonton Eskimo you can ever feel comfortable about any lead against Calgary. And I'm sure Ron Lancaster's saying that to his players right now, because with great field position here, Calgary can get back into this game in a hurry.
As a result of the penalty, Stampeders set up inside the 45. Flutie got it away. And Wilson makes the tackle on Travis Moore, number 83. Gain is 8 yards.
You know, guys, there's rain, and then when it starts to come down a little funny, like it blows in the wind, I think they call that snow. And I think we're getting just a hint of that. It might not stay on the ground, but we may have seen our first snowflakes of winter here at Commonwealth on September the 9th.
Well, better you down there than us.
You're looking a lot like Gene Kelly down there again tonight. Here's Flutie, little shovel pass, Tony Stewart. And Stewart has lots for the first down. He's inside the Eskimo 30. 6 yards the gain for Stewart.
You know, the knock on Tony Stewart at the beginning of the year was, could he rush the ball effectively all season long? Yes, he can. Number 2 was, will he not fumble it? That was the knock. Well, he's only given up 2 balls on the ground this year, and he's had, you know, about 112 carries now, so I'd say that he's really improved in that department.
Stampeders now 1st and 10, Eskimo 28. Flutie goes to work. He'll take off himself, and he's short of the first down, but most of the way there, stopped near the 20-yard line by Leroy Blue. Having a good year for the Eskimos, number 89.
And very seldom does Doug Flutie take a reasonable hit, and that time Leroy Blue did get a pretty good hit on him. And well, Flutie won't let on too often that he felt something, but I think as you'll see at the end of this replay, Leroy Blue comes in and gets a pretty good shot on Flutie's back right there.
50 little 7-yard gain for Flutie. This will be 2nd and 3. Stampeders trips formation, far side of the field. 2 receivers to the near side. And here's Flutie under the cover for Stewart. That'll be a first down. He lost the ball. And who's got it? I think the Eskimos touched it going out of bounds. And yes, Morris Lawler got his hands on the ball as it dribbled out of bounds. Leroy Blue created the fumble. And turnover number 4 thwarts another Stampeder scoring drive.
Just as they were really moving the ball for the first time tonight, you'll see Blue strip it loose. I mean, that's an intended play. When you're beaten, what you try and do is strip it loose. He knocks it down, and no question about it, Morris Lawler, 25, knocks it out of bounds. You don't have to have possession, as everyone knows. Last person that touches it, and the Edmonton Eskimos catch yet another break. Yet another Calgary turnover.
Yeah, that's twice I thought the Stampeders were going in to get their first touchdown of the game.
But you can't say enough about the little things that the defensive players from Edmonton are doing tonight. Hey, Leroy Blue couldn't stay with Stewart on the pass play. He does the next best thing. Strip it loose, you get the turnover. I mean, that's great.
Good fake to Lucius Floyd. Allen unloads deep. Far side of the field, looking for Mike Lee, number 8. Allen took a decent hit down there, just getting it away. Coleman was covering on Lee, and looks like it might have been Matt Finlay right in Allen's face.
Will Johnson coming in at the end gets the good shot on Allen as he lets it go, but well, I don't think there's a better quarterback in the league at play action passes than Damon Allen. He will fool the defense so many times. That time Marvin Pope was making the tackle on Floyd when Allen was throwing, but Will Johnson had the pressure from the wide side of the field.
Eddie Brown to the near side is the lone receiver, short side of the field. 2nd and 10. Allen fired a little too high for number 2, Henry Williams, covered by number 2, Junior Thurman. So the Eskimos will kick away with 1:27 to go till halftime. Too many turnovers by the Stampeders so far. The Eskimos won't get points out of this one.
Well, still, nevertheless, that was Leroy Blue you saw on the bench there. Quite a defensive play by him to create the turnover.
Harper angling it out of bounds, and it's grabbed by Holland on the Eskimo sidelines. No play. for the other number 17 in the field, Marvin Coleman. So about midfield, Flutie gets another crack at it.
Yeah, and I think for Wally Waller and his team, I mean, this is crucial. They've had a lot of crucial drives in this second quarter, halfway through the second quarter, to try and get back in this one. But there you see the time, plenty of time for Doug Flutie. And, you know, I think for Calgary, which doesn't happen too often, they need something good to go into this locker room at halftime and feel better about it. It's been an awful offensive performance in the first half for them.
Have to believe the Stampeders will get points on this drive with 1:21 to go. Calgary set up at the Eskimo 51. Flutie, what a great catch by Alan Pitts. Number 18 went high in the air, and it couldn't have been defensed much better than that by Willie Pless. Watch Pitts.
You get a great look at his technique and how he likes to work a defensive back, just right down the field. Now he works back to the quarterback a little bit better, shields himself away from Willie Pless as he sees him coming on the hit. That's tremendous body control in the air.
Stampeders first down. Eskimo 40-yard line now. 1:08 on the clock till halftime. Flutie fakes once. Sideline toss, and he's on target once more. It's Moore, Travis Moore, number 83. He's in for Will Moore, and Travis has 14 yards.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, don't you get the feeling that Doug Flutie is in a rhythm? He's feeling more comfortable. Yeah, the pressure comes from Larry Ruck, but it's late enough that Flutie gets it away to Travis Moore, and slowly you feel that Calgary is getting more comfortable and may make a good attempt to get back in this one.
1:02 till halftime. Stampeders first down. Inside the Eskimo 20-yard line. Flags are down in the Stampeder backfield. The far side of the field, it's Pee Wee Smith making the catch. And forced out by Ed Berry. Let's see what the infraction is. Got to feel it might be holding against Calgary. Dave Ewell discussing the situation down there, but from the area that the flag went down in the Stampeder backfield, I have to wonder if it is against Calgary, and that'll slow this Stampeder drive down.
Holding, Calgary number 64, 10-yard penalty, first down repeat.
It's against Ken Moore, who was standing down there with Dave Ewell waiting for the call as if he knew he was the guilty party. Commissioner Larry Smith at Commonwealth tonight. 55 seconds left till halftime. First and 20, Stampeders. Flutie is deep. Being chased by two Eskimos and barely got it away for Travis Moore. Eskimo defense has played it tough. Lawler was covering on Moore, and Goods was chasing down Flutie.
Tony Woods will get the initial pressure from the right side of your screen, and as Flutie runs out of there, you're going to see some pretty serious speed from Tony Woods. He does not give up, keeps chasing, and boy, Flutie finally just a desperation pass, and maybe one of the reasons why he's had a few picks tonight. Should have maybe just eaten that one.
48 seconds till halftime. Second and 20. Stampeders at the Eskimo 36. Flutie sends three to the far side of the field. A 5-receiver set. Markers are down again. And the Stampeders still trying to get on the scoreboard. Had a feeling it was going to be a different night as far as the Eskimos were concerned, but I really didn't believe they would dominate this thoroughly in the first half.
I didn't either, John, to be honest with you, but you know, good teams take advantage of their opportunities in crucial games, and this is a crucial game for Edmonton, and yes, they have taken advantage of all the opportunities.
Calgary number 20, lost it down, third down.
I think you look at Edmonton's schedule. Heck, they're 6-3. Saskatchewan's 5-4. You know, you don't want to finish out this week all of a sudden with a tie for third place. You know, you've had some separation from the bottom of the pack in the Western Conference, and Edmonton would certainly like to grab the win tonight and keep that separation, keep a solid lock on third place.
Time count violation against the Stampeders, and that means no touchdown this time either. Calgary will settle for a field goal try by Mark McLaughlin. And this is as close as the Stampeders have been to getting on the scoreboard. Spotted at the 43. McLaughlin get on 17 of 20 and make that 18 of 21 for McLaughlin, who finally gets the Stampeders on the scoreboard. Solid kicking season for McLaughlin again. 2 for 2 last week, hitting on 85% of his field goals. But the Eskimos continue to hang on to a rather substantial halftime lead at 21-3. Wally Buono has struggled at Commonwealth in Edmonton with only 1 win and 6 losses in 7 trips here as head coach. Sports break at the half, then Gord Miller with a CFL Live halftime report and Leaf story on the first half.
Yeah, it'll be Edmonton turnovers and capitalizing on it. At the half in the Calgary locker room, I'm sure Wally Buono will say, hey guys, nothing to get overly excited about. Mistakes have killed us. If we eliminate some of those mistakes and methodically work our normal offense, we can certainly get back into this game.
Allen on first down. Looks to take off himself, has a 10-yard gain, and slides safely near the 50-yard line. Maybe a better than 10-yard gain. I thought he was out. It's actually 17 yards. I thought he stepped out of bounds, but he stays in for 17. And with 34 seconds to go, Eskimos still have an opportunity to get a little more, a few more points on the board.
They have a great opportunity with 34 seconds. We said Damon Allen's running might be the difference in this game. It really hasn't been that way. It's been his play-action passing, but that's a key run to try and get them some more points before the half.
And Allen takes off again, stopped from behind this time, and there's a marker down. As Allen is caught by Stu Laird, and holding will be the call against the Eskimos. Ron Lancaster on the sidelines watching Damon Allen and the clock management he loves so much with the Edmonton Eskimos.
Holding, Edmonton number 53, 10-yard penalty, first down repeated.
Dumoulin takes the penalty this time.
Mike Dumoulin right there. You watch. Lubo Zizakovic gets by him, and Dumoulin has no choice but to hold him. Dumoulin, the heat is on him. They've signed Scott Hendrickson, former Saskatchewan Rough Rider, and they'd like to get him in the lineup for next week. So
yeah, it's Craig Hendrickson.
Craig,
right?
Sorry,
you always get those confused.
Yeah,
so do I. But they're sons of Lefty, and one is going to be a Saskatchewan Rough Rider, Scott. And Craig is going to join the Eskimos in time for next week's game against the BC Lions. That's putting a little pressure on the Eskimo offensive line because somebody up there is going to be watching.
Yeah. Don't say the whole offensive line, because I'm going to tell you who it is. It's number 53, Mike Dumoulin, who just got the holding penalty called against him, and that would be the logical spot. Possibility of Blake Dermott, the left tackle, sliding inside the guard and have Craig Hendrickson rather play the left tackle. So for Mike Dumoulin, this is an extremely important game for him.
Hendrickson signed a 2-year contract plus an option. And there were several teams in the CFL after his services, after Hendrickson was released by the Buffalo Bills. The Rough Riders wanted him back. The Argos wanted him badly. The BC Lions were really hot on his tail, and the Eskimos came up with a signing. Second in a bunch for Damon Allen, and this play going nowhere is Lucius. Lucius Floyd is tossed back by number 99, Kenny Walker. 7-yard loss.
Talk about Craig Hendrickson and the teams that wanted him. I heard the toughest job yesterday in the Edmonton Eskimo organization was for their media director, Alan Watts, to find a good hiding place for Hendrickson so nobody else could call him.
Well, I did hear that story, too.
Yeah, before he could get the ink dry on the contract with him. I mean, I'm serious. It takes me back to the old days when Leo Cahill hid Theismann and all those guys away so nobody else could talk to them.
Well, the Eskimos won the battle, and it's really a pretty key acquisition. Hendrickson is a young and very talented player at 26 years of age. He has experience along the CFL offensive line with the Saskatchewan Rough Riders and will help the Eskimos out. That's halftime at Commonwealth in Edmonton. And the Eskimos all over the Stampeders so far. It's 21-3. And it's a little wet and rainy here in Edmonton.
The CFL Live halftime report is brought to you by your local McDonald's restaurant. Talk about reversal of fortune. Edmonton 21, Calgary 3 at the half, just 4 days after the Stampeders routed the Eskimos on Labor Day. Also on Labor Day, the Hamilton Ticats dropped one at home to the Toronto Argonauts in their annual clash, and the two teams then made a trade, one that saw Reggie Slack go to Hamilton, or so we thought. Slack was dealt by the Ticats by Toronto to the Ticats, but subsequently failed the medical by Hamilton. So now the trade is up in the air. It appears the two sides may settle on another doctor to see if the wonky knee of Reggie Slack, which has had a couple of operations in the last couple of years, is indeed medically sound. Off the field for the Ticats, the news came from the front office, where John Michaluk handed in his resignation effective September 15th. Michaluk had been under fire in Hamilton for the team's fortunes off the field. Now there's a new group in Hamilton this year running the team, and John Michaluk had some problems with corporate sponsors. We are told he is stepping down as the Ticat president. Rumored to be in line for the job is former Ticat player and in fact former Eskimo Neil Lumsden. Former Montreal Alouette Larry Smith is with me now, better known as the commissioner of the Canadian Football League. What's your spin on what's happening in Hamilton?
Well, John faced a tough situation. He did a good job for the club, and he did a good job for the league. The problem is after 3 years, I think he probably felt that he couldn't take it to where it needs to go, and John and the board decided it was in the best interest of the club to go. But, you know, we're really thankful that he stood in the breach for 3 years, and he did a good job for us.
You know, Larry, every year at Labor Day, we get to talk about how good attendance is in the Canadian Football League. You had a sellout crowd in Regina, sellout crowd in Calgary. You've got a huge crowd here and an interesting promotion, one that sees the Eskimos give free tickets to any school-age kids who are accompanied by someone who's bought a ticket. What do you think of it?
Well, it's fantastic because we're trying to regain, Gord, the generation of kids that we lost in the 80s. And now tonight we'll probably have close to 50,000 people here, and over 44,000 will be paid tickets, which is fantastic for tonight.
What's primary on your agenda these days?
Well, we're continuing our plans with the expansion. We're continuing to work with Hamilton because obviously they've experienced some difficulty recently, and at the same time we're trying to get Grey Cup ready. We're going to have a great celebration, and it's looking good right now.
With the way things have gone with expansion this year, very successful in Baltimore, some false starts in Shreveport and in Las Vegas, are you less anxious to get into expansion next year, or are you still full speed ahead?
No, Gord, we're real happy because Baltimore's gone well. Shreveport's 0-9. We're averaging 18,000. They'll have 30,000 once they start to win. Vegas has been a disappointment. We'll fix that. Sacramento's steady, going along great, and I think we're going to continue. We're not going to stop this process. We just got to make sure as we go forward in time that we make more successes than have problems.
Larry, thanks very much for talking to us, and I get to keep the umbrella.
Hey,
right?
Gord, thanks for getting me wet.
Larry Smith, the commissioner of the Canadian Football League, joins us on the CFL Live halftime report, which will continue in just a moment.
Nice night for CFL football, and the Edmonton Eskimos are loving this rain, folks. Edmonton leading the Calgary Stampeders 21-3 on CFL Live. At halftime, turnovers a big part of the story. The Eskimos engineering 3 touchdowns on Calgary turnovers.
Yeah, 4 Calgary turnovers in one half of football. It seems almost unheard of, but you know, you have to give a lot of credit to the Edmonton defense. They were burned a week ago, and tonight they have come out strong. 3 interceptions. This was the second one as Doug Flutie trying to go deep in the end zone, but Glenn Rogers with perfect position. There you see it. Just wrestles the ball away, and oh boy, what a strong defensive performance.
Lucius Floyd, a big part of the Edmonton Eskimos offense. They said they wanted to run the ball a little more with Floyd, but they also got it to him in other ways.
Well, they have used just a perfect scheme against Calgary tonight. Play action, although it's not play action here, but it's frozen the linebackers of Calgary just enough. They've had good matchups. Floyd here against Lalandra Johnson. This was the second touchdown that the Edmonton Eskimos scored, but you know, you look at an Edmonton team, a pretty flawless performance in one half of football. I know one thing, however, though, John, that Calgary's not feeling very good about their first half performance, and I think you're going to see a little different second half.
Yeah, I think that Doug Flutie will get a touchdown or 2 on the board to get things started here in the second half. We should be in for a great football game despite the elements here. Eskimos are loving this. The Stampeders are struggling just a little bit with the wetness at Commonwealth. It's Students' Night at Commonwealth Stadium, and a lot of kids trying to stay dry with their mums and dads here tonight. A heavy rain has been falling in Edmonton since the game began, and it's getting a little late for some of the youngsters here. Stats show a fairly close story in just about every category, but that second from the bottom, turnovers, Stampeders have turned it over 4 times. 3 interceptions by Doug Flutie compared to 1 by Damon Allen. There was 1 Calgary fumble as well. Flutie was a victim of one of those turnovers, really going in and out of the hands of receiver Brian Wiggins. It was not his fault. Ready now for the return. The second half is underway as Floyd carries out across the 30, escapes to about the 37-yard line. And the numbers stack up this way for the combative quarterbacks tonight, with Damon Allen holding the upper hand on his counterpart Doug Flutie. Flutie 11 of 22 for 103 yards. Allen 7 of 16 for 107. 3 touchdowns for Allen, 3 interceptions for Flutie, and that just a little bit unexpected. Allen with a hot hand so far, and we'll see how he gets the second half underway. As the Eskimos begin with a first down at the 36. Allen with time, pumps once. The gizmo is the intended receiver, and Williams might have had that one. Number 2, Henry Williams, hasn't caught one so far tonight.
Yeah, you know, John, I like Henry Williams a lot. He's a great guy and everything, but you know what? I don't think he's ever blossomed into the wide receiver that they thought he might. I mean, he has a difficult time even trying to get to this football, and that's a pretty easy one to catch. No question, he's the greatest kick returner that has ever played this game.
No doubt about that, Lee.
But I don't think he's the receiver that they need in their offense right now. They're going to have to, I don't think it'll be this year, but I think next year they're going to have to replace him. He is what I consider an excellent guy to come in a 5-pack.
Yeah, absolutely right. Brown is the only receiver on the Eskimos to make a catch tonight. The running backs have done it all, Souls and Floyd, and then Allen has run the ball very effectively. Like right there, Matt Finley forced him out.
You know what, John, at halftime I had an interesting chat with J.P. Esquardo, who's a slot back with the Eskimos, injured right now. And, you know, I asked for his impressions of the first half. He said, look, we played well, no question about it. But he said, I feel Damon Allen still has to run the ball more in the second half. And you know what, I agree with his interpretation of what went on out there.
Well, that's exactly what Ron Lancaster was telling us. Damon Allen has to carry the football more for this offense to work. Last week, just 2 carries for 5 yards for Allen. He's been much more effective tonight and picked up 14 yards in the previous carry there for a first down. Edmonton at the 50. Quick swing pass. And this is Mike Lee. Lee breaks one tackle and is deep inside Stampeder territory. Greg Knox, number 8. Calgary safety, finally over to make the stop. And the Eskimos are off to a hot start in the second half, too.
It's a good scheme. Mike Lee is the second receiver in from the wide side of the field, and he gets a good block from Jay Christensen initially, and then Henry Williams runs his man out of there. Nicely executed play. I think play selection for Edmonton has just been superb tonight.
21 yards for Lee, setting the Eskimos up at the Stampeder 40. Here's Allen on the move again. Can't turn the corner successfully this time. He grabs a couple. But he's running the football. Looking to pass on that particular play. Really, the run was the secondary thought, and has 1 yard when it's all. Make it, well, maybe 2.
John, here's Will Johnson at the top of the screen, and what he's really thinking against Damon Allen more than anything else is to get some containment on him. Here you see coming to the outside. They try and pin him in, but the spin move, and you know, when you've got consistently being double teamed by 2 backs, that was Souls and Floyd, I mean, that becomes tough, and that can wear you out over the course of the whole game.
Hey, play selection for the Eskimos, all even at 18 and 18 for 36. This is Lee making the catch. This is a big first down, Edmonton. Can he go all the way down to the 1-yard line? Henry Williams makes the big catch. And Knox and Kraft over to make the tackle. They spot the ball at the 1. So the Giz makes up for one that got away with a great catch here.
And this is where he's most effective. If you can get him the ball quickly in full flight, I mean, he's a tremendous runner with the football, and they're in full flight, and he takes it down to the 1-yard line. But, you know, those are the kind of pass patterns that are his strengths.
Eskimos set up at the Stampeder 1, first and goal to go from there. And Lucius Floyd has the touchdown. Michael Souls, number 32. Third of the night for Michael Souls, and that's his first rushing touchdown of the season.
Well, you know, amazingly enough, John, this is the first rushing touchdown of any running back of the Edmonton Eskimos. Ricky Foggy and Damon Allen had all the others. This is only the 8th rushing touchdown of the year. Michael Soul is obviously his first, but he takes quite a pop here on the goal line. Number 81, Will Johnson, who slashes down from his end position. I mean, they went helmet to helmet, but to Michael Soul's credit, he was able to bang it in.
So Souls has 3. Lucius Floyd has 1. The Edmonton Eskimos have a commanding lead in the Calgary Stampeders on a wet and rainy night at Commonwealth. It's now 28-3, Edmonton leading Calgary. And the old Eskimo fire truck has been busy.
We mentioned earlier that Damon Allen said he's as talented as any quarterback in the Canadian Football League, and he's anxious to prove it. We asked his coach, Ron Lancaster, who is a pretty good quarterback himself, to compare the two.
Damon will never get the recognition that Doug Flutie gets. Doug Flutie came out of college with a mystical reputation, and it's carried right through, and I'm not criticizing because he has earned it. And every time he's went out on the field, he's a competitor. He loves to play, and he loves to win. And when you watch him play, he's having fun doing it. And Damon's the same way. Damon's just not as outward going. And whenever good quarterbacks are always mentioned in this league, whether it's now or last year, it was always Flutie and Dunnigan and so on. And Damon was always like 4th or 5th. But I'm glad to hear that Damon feels that way, because he has to feel that way. There's not a quarterback that I've ever met that doesn't think he's the best football player on that team or in that league. You have to be that way to play that position.
Coleman on the return for the Stampeders after another Eskimo touchdown. And he's out across the 35. There's a penalty marker down. We'll check out the infraction. Damon Allen, 9 of 19 for 154 yards passing, 5 for 46 rushing, and this penalty going against the Calgary Stampeders.
Legal block. Calgary number 31. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Reinson is called there as you look at the Eskimo scoring drive. 74 yards in a minute in 3:29. Scoring play to Souls and a 1-yard rush. It is 28-3. Edmonton leading Calgary. And Flutie has to try and get the Stampeders back into the ball game. 3 receivers far side, and Stewart gets the call. Good run for Tony Stewart. That'll be a Stampeder first down. Stopped by Willie Pless as Stewart picks up 17 yards.
You know, John, you look at Calgary in the first half and what they did. One thing they didn't do was run the ball effectively. Here, Tony Stewart, nice cutback, and he follows the down block of Kenny Moore. But, you know, you're talking 10 possessions in the first half. 5 were punts, 3 were interceptions. I mean, that is just not the normal Calgary production.
Flutie looks to put this one up. And he has Alan Pitts in front of Glenn Rogers Jr. And we'll see where they spot it, but Pitts picks up 9.
Well, I think at this point now, Doug Flutie can't worry about what his defense is doing. They're not having a great night, allowing 28 points, but he just has to methodically keep working. Good running play to Stewart. Now Pitts on the out, and I think that's what the offensive guys are probably saying. Hey, we can't worry about what our defense is doing tonight. We got to just try and get on track ourselves.
2nd and 1. And Flutie gives to Stewart. This will be a first down Calgary as Stewart grabs at least 6 more yards after the first down. Melvin Hunter, number 46 for the Eskimos, and it's a 9-yard gain for Stewart. Gord?
John, I'll tell you what, Wally Buono is as mad as I've seen him on the sidelines. He gave it to his team at halftime. He said, you think you can just show up and beat a good team? You cannot. He says, we can still win this football game, but you guys have to execute. He grabbed Marvin Pope by the jersey, gave it to him. Wally's a little hot, and this is the last regular season meeting between the two, and the Eskimos are sending a pretty strong message.
They will meet again in November. Pretty good chance of that. 28-3. Eskimos have the lead in this one as Flutie escapes from Goods and fires that one into the turf. The Eskimos putting a lot of pressure on the Calgary Stampeder offense.
Yeah, I think there's 45,000 odd people in here that might have a pretty good claim at grounding the football. Flutie was looking for nothing more than an open spot to dump that one off and not lose any yardage here. Boy, this is the most that I have seen him under pressure in a number of games. Leroy Blue, he has been in Flutie's face all night long. There's a lot of defensive players for Edmonton tonight that have really come with a strong intent to making amends for last Monday's performance.
The Eskimos were embarrassed on Monday, 48-15 losers at McMahon Stadium, never in that ball game. Just about the way the Stampeders have never been in this one, at least yet. Flutie looking deep, has Pitts, and Pitts has a big first down for the Calgary Stampeders. Murphy over to force Pitts down, and it'll be a 36-yard gain to set the Stampeders up inside the Eskimo 20.
Yeah, one of the few times Doug Flutie had all kinds of time to throw tonight. Little hesitation move, and it totally freezes number 17, Robert Holland. And there you see Alan Pitts just sneaks in behind. It was that change of speeds that totally fooled the defense there, and that shows you why Pitts is the #1 receiver in the league. Pretty decent numbers.
Those were last week's numbers. He has substantially more yardage than that on the season, 1,050 coming into the game, and 9 touchdowns. First down, Stampeders. Flutie escapes and aims for a first down. Not quite. Forced out by Glenn Rogers Jr., number 26. 7 yards for Doug Flutie. He's been deep inside Eskimo territory a couple of times tonight and come away with only 3 points.
Yeah, it's been a frustrating night for Doug Flutie in the points department, but I think if he can get a touchdown here, he'll feel like that his team is back in the ballgame. There's Alan Pitts, number 18. You know, you look at a player's statistics over his career, and what I think impresses me most about Pitts is 28 out of 70 games that he has played as a Stampeder, he's gone over 100 yards receiving. That's nearly half. I mean, that is a phenomenal statistic.
6 100-yard receiving games for Pitts this season. This is Stewart on second down, and the Eskimos read it well. Rogers comes up with a big play. Glenn Rogers Jr., number 26, gets Tony Stewart in the backfield, and the Stampeders will settle for a chance at 3 once more.
Well,
Holland and Rogers struggled last week a little bit.
Here's Rogers right here. You watch the play that he makes coming up on Tony Stewart to come up and force into the backfield. You don't have enough guys to block everybody sometimes, and you have to ask your running back to make a heck of a play in certain situations to get your first down, and Glenn Rogers would have nothing to do with it.
Rogers took a costly penalty last week. Robert Holland took a couple. McLaughlin adds his second field goal of the game, and the Stampeders now have 6 on the board. They've had chances for touchdowns and come up empty. The Eskimo defense has been stingy from start to now. 7:42 to play, third quarter.
Back in Edmonton, where Glenn Rogers Jr. and the Eskimos defense are having their way with the Calgary Stampeders. One thing that Glenn Rogers Jr. and the rest of the Eskimo defensive backs have been able to do is get in Doug Flutie's face on the blitz. Rogers has been coming a lot from the defensive backfield to get to the Stampeder quarterback. On Monday, under perfect conditions on Labor Day, Flutie was able to get the ball away, but it's taking his receivers an extra half second or so to get open, and that, the Stampeders feel, is the difference between the two games.
Yeah, Gord, I think tonight the field has really been the great equalizer between these two teams, and that's not taking away anything of the performance of Edmonton. I mean, they have played an inspired football game so far, but this field really has slowed down the Calgary receiving corps, no question.
This is Eskimo weather. It's not quite snow yet, but it's slippery out there on the turf at Commonwealth. Eskimos in a 28-6 lead on the Stampeders. Edmonton first down. Lucius Floyd lost the ball, and let's see who comes up with it. Stampeders indicate they have recovered. A couple of Eskimos say it is Edmonton ball. It's all up to Dave Ewell down there in the center of things. Pretty tough to tell, Leif, who might have the ball in that mess down there.
I know one thing. Marvin Pope, number 91, knocked the ball loose with his hit on Lucius Floyd. You'll see his helmet drive right up through the football here, and Floyd cuts back. Who's waiting for him? Boom. Pope right up through there. The ball is loose. I think the cheer of the crowd tells you who got it.
Except we still don't know the player who came up with it. The Eskimos do retain possession.
Well, here's where Calgary's defense has a good opportunity. Now it's 28-6, plenty of time left, but for Marvin Pope and his crew, this is the first time that Edmonton's been in second and long in quite some time, and maybe the defense is going to have to take charge of this game.
2nd and 8. Allen has Sauls, and Sauls has a first down out at the Calgary 50. Greg Knox had to come over and make the tackle.
Same play Michael Soul scored his touchdown on, his receiving touchdown, and it's just a quick hitter over the top, and Alondra Johnson once again cuts underneath, or Matt Finley rather, and he can't stay with Michael Souls. And give Damon Allen credit. I mean, he is recognizing the defensive situations out there, what Calgary is doing to him, and he's taking advantage of it with some pretty timely throws. But it's been his backs involved in the passing game tonight that has made the huge difference.
6:19 to go, third quarter. 22 yards for Souls. And the Eskimos are set up at the Stampeder 50. It has been all Edmonton. As mentioned, we knew the Eskimos would be better, but didn't quite expect this much better. And Jake Christensen couldn't bring that one down. It's intercepted, picked off by Douglas Kraft. And Kraft continues the run. Penalty markers down far side of the field. Second interception. Big hit by Knox on Christensen, and that jarred it loose. Check out the infractions, but the Stampeders will have the football.
Well, it really was Greg Knox. Once again, he's got an interception in this game on a key play, and now sliding over from the middle safety spot. And don't think Christensen didn't see him at the last second and took his eyes off the football long enough that he tipped it right to Douglas Kraft. Well, you get a great look at it here. See the head move? Christensen saw the hit coming. That's pretty solid hit by Knox. He's sneaky big, you know. He's 6'1", 195, and he has become one of the better hitters in the middle for middle safeties in the league.
Penalties holding against Calgary, face mask against Edmonton. The turnovers are 4-2, and the Stampeders are first down out across the 35, 37-yard line. Here's number 83, Travis Moore, making the catch, and quickly he's in the grasp of Morris Pollard. See where they spot the ball. It's better than halfway to a first down. 7 yards the gain for the Stampeders.
I think this is a good move by Doug Flutie. Go to the hurry-up offense. Try and change the momentum and the flow of this game to your favor, and maybe keep the defense off balance a little more by not going back in the huddle every time.
3 receivers for Flutie to the far side, and here comes the heat. Couple of Eskimos tracking Doug Flutie. Sapunjas can't make the catch. Covering on Sapunjas was Wilson. Blue was leading the way to the Calgary quarterback with Malvin Hunter. And Flutie has been running for his life a little bit tonight on the turf at Commonwealth.
Yeah, John, I'm going to show you one of the reasons why Flutie's running for his life. He wants to throw to Alan Pitts right here, but you watch Glenn Rogers on the coverage. Now, you think this is holding or what? Now, the officials missed this one. Look at this. I mean, how can you get away when the guy's doing that to you? That's who Flutie wanted to go to. Now the heat's on him. Everybody's saying, hey, the line didn't pass block properly, but I'm going to tell you, that's a holding penalty that should have been called that wasn't called. Now Calgary has to punt the ball away.
Martino averaging 40.6 tonight. And this one isn't high or deep, but it gets a good roll past Henry Williams. Picks it up on the bounce, draws a flag, and Williams hits the turf. Sapunjas leading the Stampeder tacklers toward the Eskimo return guy. 45-yard punts, not much of a return for the Giz, but it's Eskimo ball. There's the score in the third quarter. Stay tuned following the game for the TSN Turning Point, brought to you by Apple Auto Glass, the pick of the crop from coast to coast. Eskimos on first down. And the gain is 4 yards. Out near the 30-yard line as Lucius Floyd gets up after Matt Finley made the tackle. Gord.
Thanks, John. Here with Strecko Zizakovic. Strecko, what's the difference Friday to Monday?
Just mental errors at the moment right now, and the fact that we're not being as aggressive as we have to be to really compete against Edmonton right now. Now back to the center.
Gain is 5 yards. This will be 2nd and 5. Eskimos trying to get to the 35. 3:54 to go, third quarter, with the Eskimos hanging on to the lead, and Damon Allen runs for the first down. Just like Ron said, Allen had to run the ball, and when he's done it, he's been effective. Alondra Johnson, number 51, made the stop for the Stamps.
Well, I think his decision to run was a very timely one. He's not waiting for the pass patterns to develop. If he doesn't see them develop in a hurry on this wet field, he's saying, hey, I'm going to run with it. That was a really good choice.
28-6, Edmonton leading Calgary in the rematch. On the soggy turf at Commonwealth. Allen with 3 receivers to his right. Fired low for Lee. And Gerald Vaughn was covering number 38 on Mike Lee.
You know, John, one thing I've always admired about the Edmonton Eskimos, and it happened last year, they went through a horrible period in their season where they played terribly, and somehow they picked themselves up by the bootstraps and came back and won a Grey Cup. I think last week was probably the low point in their season, and, you know, everybody's kind of writing them off, and all of a sudden now they come out and they've been able to regroup and pick themselves up once again, and it truly is a trademark of this organization.
Ironically, last year it was in Week 10 against the Stampeders that the Eskimos began their roll for the Grey Cup. Here's Brown, big first down Eskimos as Brown gets down to the 40-yard line, stopped by Marvin Coleman, and it doesn't look to me like the Eskimos are going to be denied tonight. Here's Brown with a 31-yard pickup.
And what happens, initially he's hit, he's out of the play, but once Damon Allen breaks the pocket, the fun starts. Eddie Brown works to an open area. Nice job to get open for his quarterback, but it's all contingent on Damon Allen breaking the pocket, and boy, that's when the fun starts. These guys are too tough to cover for that length of time.
2:18 to play, third quarter, 28-6, Edmonton leading Calgary. Allen has a 5-receiver pack in there, 3 to the far side. Time to throw. Allen looks deep. Henry Williams can't make the catch, and there's a penalty marker down in the Calgary secondary. Covering on the giz is Marvin Coleman, number 17. Check out the infraction here.
Illegal contact on an eligible receiver. Calgary number 8, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Greg Knox, it'll be an Eskimo first down.
Yeah, John, 28-6, under 2 minutes to go in the third quarter. Well, I think Edmonton has a glorious opportunity to really take total control of this game.
Eskimos came back and won the 93 rematch after Labor Day, 29-16 here at Commonwealth. They have been all over the Stampeders from start to finish tonight. Allen away from Finley in the first charge, but he can't elude everyone down there, and Kenny Walker, number 99, gets through. -9. Third sack by the Stampeders.
And here comes Matt Finley from the outside, untouched, and as Damon Allen will spin to the outside, his buddy Kenny Walker comes right up there. But this is something that Calgary's going to need more and more of if they want to try and get back into this one. With pretty good pressure on him right there. One of the few times they've really had some serious pressure on Damon Allen tonight.
Second and a bunch for the Eskimos. Second and 19. Calgary 43. Here comes the big charge. Catch is made, and that'll be short of the first down. It's Mike Lee, number 8. And Gerald Vaughn saved the first down. 12 yards the gain. Eskimos needed 19.
Well, it didn't really matter, though, John. They did the big thing. This is a clutch catch by Michael Lee here, going high in the air to make this one, because what it does is set Sean Fleming up for a field goal attempt. Had they not been able to make that, I think it was out of Fleming's range. Good block by Lucius Floyd on Johnson to keep him out of the backfield, but it's the little intangibles, those little hidden things that the Edmonton Eskimos are doing much better tonight. Now all of a sudden you get a chance for 3, you drop the ball, you don't.
John Fleming got on 26 of 33 on the season, and he misses this one. It drips through for a single point.
Coleman concedes the single point.
So now 29-6, 13 seconds to go, third quarter. And Fleming a little distraught over the miss there. First game of Week 10 in Canadian football is here at Commonwealth tonight. On Saturday, Tiger Cats at Ottawa, Sacramento at Baltimore, and Shreveport at Las Vegas. BC Lions try and regroup on Sunday at Sky Dome in Toronto after a disappointing tie in Sacramento and the rematch in Winnipeg. Rough Riders trying to make it 2 in a row over the Blue Bombers. Flutie. And Alan Pitts makes the catch. Let's see where they spot it. Could be a little short of the first down as Rogers made the tackle. Final play, third quarter. With the Eskimos on top, 29-6. CFL Live from Edmonton. Ready for the final quarter at Commonwealth. The Eskimos riding some turnovers early into a 29-6 lead on the Calgary Stampeders headed to the fourth quarter. Tough night for Doug Flutie. He hasn't been able to get the job done. Ron Lancaster has his Eskimos well prepared for this one, the rematch. And I'm not so sure a lot of people figured that the Eskimos would dominate this one, but they had to be better than they were 3 days ago in Calgary. Numbers so far favoring the Eskimos in virtually every category. Turnovers 4-2. Time of possession reasonably close. But Flutie has not been able to hit the end zone yet. Stampeders have settled for a couple of field goals. Three receivers near side, and the call is to Stewart. Tony Stewart across the 50 to about the 51. Met there by Larry Ruck, number 47. 9 yards for Stewart. He's had a solid game.
John, I think it'll be interesting here in the fourth quarter to watch how Calgary reacts. I mean, they haven't been in very many desperate situations this year, having a 8-1 mark coming into this game, but now all of a sudden they are, and we'll see how they can handle it.
Flutie eludes the charge. And Ruck runs him out far side of the field.
You know, we talk about underrated players in this game, and I mentioned Matt Finley as one earlier. I think Larry Ruck, 47, is for the Edmonton Eskimos. You know, game in, game out. I mean, is there any guy or any linebacker that can go sideline to sideline like Larry Ruck does? And boy, that time just he spied Doug Flutie all the way and didn't let him get any upfield yardage.
A couple of Canadian linebackers have had terrific CFL careers. The gain is 4 yards for Flutie. Making this 2nd and 6 from the 55. Flutie looks to put it up. Pee Wee Smith makes the catch. Very close to first down territory, but he's hit immediately by Ed Berry, number 13. See where they spot the ball. It should be a Stampeder first down.
And I think Ed Berry and the rest of the secondary for Edmonton will be more than content to let Doug Flutie pick away and throw the underneath patterns. And, you know, they got a 23-point lead with 15 minutes to go. And boy, the worst thing they want to have happen to them is to give up the big play and let Calgary get back into this one in a hurry. If Calgary's going to get back, make them do it methodically. Make them kill a lot of time on the clock if they're going to get some points. And, well, I think that's what guys like Robert Holland are thinking right now.
Holland a little something to prove after a couple of costly penalties last week. Stampeders do get the first down at the Eskimo 49. Three receivers far side for Flutie. Trips formation over there. Flutie looks that way and shovels it ahead for Stewart. Hole closed up rather quickly as number 39, Willie Pless, moved in. Outstanding Eskimo player in 1993, number 39, Willie Pless. And I think he's the outstanding defensive player on this squad again in 1994. Ruck leads the team in tackles. Pless seems to be everywhere all the time, however. Second down and long. Flutie has Alan Pitts behind Lawler. And it's a big gain for the Stampeders inside the Eskimo 20-yard line. 31 yards for Alan Pitts. And with 13:01 to play, final quarter, Stampeders threatening to finally get to the end zone.
And exactly what Edmonton didn't want, to give up the big play. Alan Pitts, a little wheel pattern to the out and then the up down the sidelines. Those are his numbers once again. The 29th time in his career that he's gone over 100 yards.
And the 7th time this season, Lee.
Pretty phenomenal year for Alan Pitts.
First and 10, Stampeders at the Eskimo 15. Flutie uses the shotgun. Looks to the end zone. And no touchdown this time. Wilson was there. So Pungus was the intended receiver. And Robert Holland in the area as well, covering on Dave Sapungus.
Well, you talk about trying to thread the needle. Watch as Doug Flutie tries to get into this Sapunjas. There's 3 Eskimos right there, and Ed Barry left his man, was coming over the top. So's Murphy with some help. Donnie Wilson, the linebacker, are being asked to cover one-on-one with Sapunjas.
2nd and 10, Stampeders. Eskimo 15. Flutie wants to hit the end zone. Eludes the pressure, takes off himself, and fires for the touchdown. Travis Moore made the catch. Flutie looked like he was going to run and then stopped short right at the line of scrimmage and found Moore in the end zone.
Well, I think one of 2 things could be called. Either Travis Moore went out of bounds and came back in, or Doug Flutie crossed the line of scrimmage when he threw it. I think illegal pass downfield. I think that's Doug Flutie ahead of the line of scrimmage.
They signaled touchdown in the end zone, but of course the officials down there just recording the catch.
Illegal participation. Calgary number 83 went out of bounds, came back in to make the catch. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Well, I knew it was one of the 2.
Yeah, you were right on. 50-50. We were on top of the call, and that's been the kind of night it's been for the Stampeders.
Well, Morris Lawler forced Travis Moore to the outside, out of bounds, and once you leave the field of play, you cannot come back in and be eligible.
Now 2nd and 20. Flutie back at the Eskimo 25. Flutie looks to the end zone, and Wiggins, the intended receiver, covered by Robert Holland, who's been a force tonight in the Eskimo secondary. They've gone after Holland all night long, and they haven't beat him for a touchdown yet.
Well, he took a real gamble here and came underneath Wiggins, and in a way he was a bit lucky because Doug Flutie had this almost on target, and well, at this stage of the game the gamble didn't hurt him, but he took a pretty big chance.
Hard to believe the Stampeders haven't made it to the end zone yet tonight after averaging 43.5 points per game this season. Mark McLaughlin has been the Stampeders scoring, and he's now 3 for 3, but that only totals 9 points. And the Eskimos' lead is still 29 to 9. 11:34 to go, 4th quarter, and the Stampeders have not been able to get on track.
Tonight's attendance is 51,180.
Here's McLaughlin, and is this ricochet in? Bing, and if it goes through, it's good.
Yeah, one of the few things that's gone right for the Stampeders tonight. Mark McLaughlin with the lucky bounce.
Wally is not going to be a happy guy tonight.
Well, this is tough. You know, they're in their 10th game of the season, and up until now, 8 wins, only 1 loss. I mean, how can you honestly expect a team to be playing at their level, you know, for 18 games? I think it's inconceivable to expect that, and you know, sometimes you just don't. You hope your team gives the effort, and maybe that's what he's worried about tonight.
This was a much more important game for the Edmonton Eskimos, and so far the Eskimos have played it that way. Back and perfectly timed for the Eskimos' first down play. Here's Damon Allen. Looking for a little running room. He may find it to the far side. Damon Allen slides to the 45-yard line. Alondra Johnson and Gerald Vaughn bringing down the Eskimo quarterback, and he's about a yard short of the first down.
Well, we talked about the difference in the game tonight. It would be Damon Allen's running. He must run effectively. Now, he hasn't run as much as we thought he might, but it was a run just like the one he made there for 9 yards. It's going to send up a 2nd and short. This is all killing time off the clock.
And he has run for 61 yards so far this evening, and he'll add a first down here, make it about 63 for Damon Allen. Greg Knox made the tackle.
And John, on the previous play when he ran the bootleg, his mandate tonight is to run first, throw second when he goes to the rollout. And I think you saw pretty good evidence of that on the play previous to his last one, where when he rolled out of the pocket, it was run first. That was the intent.
10:17 to go, fourth quarter. Stampeders still haven't scored a touchdown. It is Edmonton leading 29-9. It is the rematch at Commonwealth. Allen has 3 receivers near side. Fires for Mike Lee, and Lee had nowhere to go. Stu Laird, 75, had him boxed in. Mike Lee in the lineup with the injury to Jim Sandusky, and this Edmonton team has struggled a little bit without their veteran all-star receiver Jim Sandusky.
Sandusky had back surgery, and Ron Lancaster expects him to be back for about the first week of October, which is great news.
It's about the Hamilton game. Sandusky figures he might be back 1 game sooner, but optimistically not till then. Here's Allen, and flags are down as Allen looked for Eddie Brown. Douglas Kraft was covering, and he seems to be the marked man right now. There's the indication from referee Dave Ewell. It is against the Calgary Stampeders. Defensive interference.
Pass interference. Calgary number 3. Deliberate. First down, point of foul.
And it was deliberate.
Maybe not a bad penalty to take. Greg Knox, the middle safety, was coming on a safety blitz. Douglas Kraft knew he had no help in the middle, and he was beaten. So rather than maybe give up a touchdown, he takes the interference penalty. One of those penalties is maybe fine line that it wasn't a bad one to take.
Setting the Eskimos up 1st and 10. Stampeder 42. Allen fakes once and then turns around completely. Had a man in behind the cover of Eddie Brown there, but just overthrew him by about 2 yards. Eddie Brown has to be the dominant receiver for the Edmonton Eskimos.
Well, he's the best receiver that they have. I'm not sure he's been dominating this year as he did a year ago.
He has to be the dominant guy is what I was trying to say.
Yep. I would agree with that. He's the guy that has to make the big plays for them out of the 4 receivers they have on the field tonight.
Started inside during the season. He's been outside the last couple of games. 2nd and 10. Here's Allen. And he has Christensen for a big Eskimo first down. Greg Knox to make the tackle for the Stampeders with 8:36 on the clock.
I've really been impressed with the offensive line tonight of the Edmonton Eskimos, John. Here, Damon Allen, a straight drop back, the most difficult pass to protect for, and his offensive line does a terrific job, and Jay Christensen with the catch over the middle. But offensive line, I think, was somewhat under the gun here at Edmonton this week, and I think they performed very well tonight.
17 yards for Christensen. First down for the Eskimos. Stampeder 25. 3 receivers near side, and Allen has all kinds of time to find the giz. Henry Williams, does he make the catch in bounds? Looks like he did. That's what they're saying down there. It was close. Stampeders hate the call. Junior Thurman was covering.
But, John, you know your offensive line's having a good night when your quarterback can look one way and then have the time to go way back across the field to probably the last receiver on your list on that pass pattern and allow him to make the catch. Was he in? Yeah, I think he was in. Great catch. But once again, the offensive line for Edmonton, the key, giving Allen all kinds of time to throw.
16-yard gain for the Eskimos. 3 receivers, trips formation, far side. Edmonton set up at the Calgary 10. Allen in trouble and down. Grabbed by Matt Finley, number 37, and there was pressure there from Zizakovic as well, but Finley should get credit for the sack, and that's his 2nd of the year.
And I think one of the quarterbacks will admit it or not, when you play against Doug Flutie, you take it as a personal challenge, and the numbers for Damon Allen bear out that he has had a terrific evening. The 3 touchdowns, no question, overshadowing his 2 interceptions for Doug Flutie. 3 interceptions, 2 his fault, maybe 1 not his fault, 1 tip ball.
Yeah, one of Allen's not necessarily his fault. He had his receiver, and it popped out of Christensen's hands. And 1 to Flutie. In and out of the hands of one of his receivers and right into the hands of an Eskimo. Loss is 11. This is 2nd and a whole bunch. And Allen puts it right in front of the goalposts. Stopped by Will Johnson, and the Eskimos will settle for a field goal try for an extra 3.
I think a pretty good decision by Damon Allen, too. He knows how important the 3 points could be in this game. I don't think you're ever comfortable until the final gun goes in the game and you're on the winning side. When you play against Calgary, you're never sure, and for him to try and make a throw there would have been silly. come out of it, let your field goal kicker come in, and with 6:50 to go in the game, maybe try and add a sure 3 points to your lead.
Sean Fleming, 26 of 34 on the season. 0 for 1 so far tonight. This straight on. Spotted at the 23. And he nails that one into about the 15 throw back there. So Fleming adds to the Eskimo total. It is now 32-9 with 6:32 to go. The Eskimos love it at Commonwealth. The old Eskimo fire truck is just about running out of gas. It's no coincidence that they've got the Grey Cup banner from Calgary in 1993 hoisted high on that fire truck tonight, just to remind Stampeders and their fans who actually won in Calgary last year.
These cities don't like each other, do they?
Not much at all.
No, I tell you what, when I played, I'd come into this stadium, or when I was with Saskatchewan, I hated that fire truck with a passion. Hated that thing.
Used to do a lap or two.
Oh.
Here's Flutie, just got it away. And the intended receiver far side wasn't even close to making the catch. That's Travis Moore, number 83.
And the Calgary Stampeders have an extra reason to hate that fire truck. There's a little addition to it, the Grey Cup banner from last year. Now, the Stampeders don't know where the Eskimos got one of those, but of course it's prominently displayed, and the Stampeders get a bitter reminder of just who won the Grey Cup at McMahon last year.
Yeah, they took it off a flagpole in downtown Calgary, I'm sure. Stampeders can't make a reception there. Dan Murphy, number 24, and Ed Berry over to meet Pee Wee Smith, number 86.
Ed Berry and Dan Murphy.
Now, one of the things I look at in a football game is which team can dominate the other physically, and I really believe that Edmonton has dominated this game physically tonight. They've made the harder hits. They've been far more aggressive as a defense going to the football, and well, I think that often tells the tale of who's going to win the football game. Here you see the big hits coming right here. Barry and Murphy meet. Pee Wee Smith pays the price there, but I think Edmonton's aggressiveness in this game has been a big factor.
$14 million. That's right.
6:11 to play, fourth quarter. The Eskimos have the lead in Edmonton tonight. It's 32-9.
Most things in this world aren't big enough to handle 7 feet 2 inches, 310 pounds.
This is what it's all about. This is the Edmonton Eskimos 1993 Grey Cup ring. We mentioned that the Calgary Stampede logo was appearing on the banner on the fire truck. It also appears on the side of this Grey Cup ring. Ironically enough, the Eskimos had to wait until this week to get their Grey Cup baubles. Perhaps a little bit of inspiration for this second half of the Labor Day doubleheader. Sure seems to have worked. Maybe I'll take off with this thing. No one asked for it back.
Better put that right back on someone's finger down there.
Probably
or you'll be arrested.
Probably far too big for Gord's finger anyway.
6:10 to go till full time. Martino in again to kick for the Stampeders, and the Giz ready to return for the Eskimos. No big returns tonight, and not one there.
John, the last time that the Edmonton Eskimos had the football, they took off over 5 minutes of the clock on their last possession. Ended up with 3 points. I mean, you cannot do it any better at protecting the lead in the fourth quarter. You always look at teams and how well do they play late in the game with the lead, and so far in this game, Edmonton has performed spectacularly. 5-minute drive, you get 3 points. That's pretty darn good.
Yeah, the old master is on the sidelines. Ron Lancaster teaching Damon Allen just a little bit more about how to take time off the clock. They talk about it constantly. And Allen is getting better and better at it. Under the guidance of Ron Lancaster. Eskimos off to a quick start in this one tonight, and they haven't looked back. They took an early turnover in for a touchdown, and the Calgary Stampeders are still looking for their first touchdown of this football game. Things a little bit different at Commonwealth than at McMahon on Labor Day Monday. This is Lucius Floyd slashing his way out to the 55, and it should be a first down for the Edmonton Eskimos. Alondra Johnson, number 51, makes the tackle, and the Edmonton Eskimos have run well.
Don, I don't think there's any question there's some serious factors in the storyline of this ball game tonight, and certainly one of them has been the 4 turnovers the Stampeders have committed. Doug Flutie only 201 yards, but how about Dave Sapunjas has not had 1 catch tonight? That's certainly the storyline of this ball game.
Second down, less than a yard to go, and that should be enough for an Eskimo first down with 4:58 on the clock. And this will be, if the Eskimos hang on to win at 32-9, decent chance that they will. This will be the thought that the Calgary Stampeders will carry with them into their next meeting with the Edmonton Eskimos, which will quite likely be in November in the playoffs.
And this is how the standings look right now, but Edmonton will move to 7-3 most likely. Hey, are they back in the hunt or what?
Yeah, 1 win behind if this Eskimo lead stands up. 4:28 to go. 1st and 10 Edmonton. Just across midfield, Damon Allen. In a little trouble here. Looked to an open receiver. That was Lucius Floyd in the area. No chance of making the catch. But Allen got rid of it wisely. There was no chance for a Stampeder to make it either. Gord?
You know, in a 32-9 game, you wouldn't think Edmonton would be concerned about the score, but remember, the Eskimos lost by 27 on Labor Day, and they only played twice, so they'd like to win by more than that tonight. In case the 2 teams were to tie at the end of the season, the Eskimos would have the points for and against advantage in the season series.
Yeah, that's good points. It is now a 21-point Eskimo advantage. Second and 10. Allen himself. Little quarterback draw, and that comes up short of the first down. As Kenny Walker was there, number 99, and number 17, Marvin Coleman. Penalty marker down. Back in the Stampeder secondary. Discussion with the Eskimos indicating that the infraction could be against the Stampeders. We'll wait for the official word here.
Major foul. Unnecessary roughness. Calgary number 51.
Yeah,
15-yard penalty. First down.
Wally is going to be a little angry about this one to Alondra Johnson. An unnecessary roughness call. 115 yards in penalties against the Stampeders tonight compared to 70 against the Eskimos.
Alondra Johnson's frustrated. He's had a tough night. His coverage, what he's been asked to do, has been difficult at times with the play action, and there's no question he is frustrated tonight.
Eskimos set up with a first down at the 35. Allen pump fakes once, looks to the end zone. Yes! Eddie Brown, and that was pretty to watch. What a difference 4 days can make. And here comes the old fire truck one more time.
It's going to need new rubber.
35-yard toss from Allen to Brown.
Yeah, it'll go down as a 35-yard toss, but the ball was in the air at least 50, and I don't think I've seen a nicer throw than David Allen just made to Eddie Brown. Nice catch. Good acceleration at the end of it. Just a terrific-looking pass and run.
Going for 2, and the Eskimos come up short as Allen looked for Mike Lee, and back to that point differential again. Score stands at 38-9, and the Eskimos wanted the 2 here to just try and get ahead of the Stampeders in the season points total.
Once again, good protection up front. He's able to pump and then find Eddie Brown, and I'm impressed. Eddie Brown, the last 5-6 yards of that play, accelerated to the football.
And 3 minutes to go at Commonwealth in Edmonton. The Eskimos are celebrating a runaway from the Calgary Stampeders. And on that fire truck, there's a few more people on the old Eskimo bandwagon. Here's the Stampeder return after the Eskimo touchdown. And again, not much running room for Calgary's Pee Wee Smith, number 86. Fluty's had a tough night. No touchdowns at all. Stampeders have been averaging over 44 points a game, make that 43 points a game, and they haven't got a touchdown tonight. Only 9 points on the scoreboard, 2:58 on the score clock, and 5 plays to cover 65 yards for the latest Eskimo touchdown, a 35-yard toss to Eddie Brown. This is Stewart, and a big run for Tony Stewart. Still going. He could go all the way. Tony Stewart down to the 20-yard line, and he's cut near the 15. Glenn Rogers finally catching up to Tony Stewart. Right now, the Stampeders playing for a little pride and to keep within a few points here. 65 yards for Stewart.
And for Tony Stewart, keeps alive his chances of getting 1,000 yards for the season. I don't think Calgary will win this football game, obviously, but nevertheless, pretty solid effort up front. Doug Davies, the center, Jamie Crysdale, the right guard. Pretty solid run by Tony Stewart, who says these guys won't give up.
Yeah, they haven't given up, that's for sure. 1st and 10, Stampeders at the Eskimo 15. Flutie from the shotgun, firing, and the catch is made by Brian Wiggins. Robert Holland nailed him as he made the catch. Wiggins held on.
John, I think it's worth talking about again just the offensive production of Calgary, how successful they have been throughout the course of this season. And tonight, what a job the Edmonton defense has done. Those statistics bear out the fact that Edmonton has played a whale of a football game.
Asked Ron Lancaster yesterday if there were any bright spots on Labor Day in Calgary. He said nope. Due tonight. 3 receivers far side as Flutie looks to hit the end zone for the Stampeders for the first time. Charge is on. Penalty markers down. Flutie off target. And we'll see where the infraction lies. It's against the Stampeders. There's the indication from referee Dave Ewell. And there's also another flag. So holding would be one call, and a flag down in the end zone as well.
Holding, Calgary number 36. Illegal contact on an eligible receiver. Edmonton number 26. Penalties balanced. 2nd down repeated.
That explains it all.
And don't think the players don't know the point differential between the two games right now on the field. I think that's why the intensity is so high with still 2 minutes to go and the outcome of the game really taken care of already.
Flutie had Stewart. Stewart couldn't make the catch. 2:01 to play. Leroy Blue. Solid game for the Eskimos, and number 89 broke it up.
Just to add to what you said, Lee, absolutely. In fact, here on the Edmonton bench, that's exactly what they're doing, working out what they would do if Calgary were to score a field goal, if Calgary were to score a touchdown. They're talking about touchdowns and 2-point conversions. Then all of a sudden you look up and you realize it's a 29-point game. You'd think it was the last minute of the Grey Cup or something.
It's funny how that works, but you're absolutely right. That's what they're thinking.
Season series.
Maybe one of the reasons, John, why Doug Flutie stayed in the game so late in an absolute losing effort.
Yeah, it's all important, the season series. Stamps won by 33 Labor Day. McLaughlin has accounted for all the Stampeders scoring, and that total is 12 points so far tonight. The Eskimos have touchdowns, a couple by Souls.
Now, what was the point differential? 27? Was that what we were told?
It's 48-15 from last week, so that's a 33-point Stampeder total, and the Eskimos are in arrears to that at 38-12 right now. It is Eskimos are
so they need
26.
a touchdown.
Yeah, touchdown.
So my math, which is always slow at the best of times, tells me that Edmonton needs a touchdown to tie right now on this total point differential. So we'll see if they go for it here with 1:59 to go.
Eskimos first down, 35-yard line. Damon Allen, sharp all night, has no time to get this one away. Stu Laird. In on Allen.
It's funny, John, I think that's probably the 5th sack for Calgary tonight, and It just doesn't seem like that many, you know.
It doesn't seem like they've dominated defensively.
No, it doesn't at all. I've complimented Edmonton on their offensive line, their pass protection tonight, which I thought has looked pretty good, but those 5 sacks just haven't seemed to amount to anything.
Stampeders had 3 sacks last week, and they shellacked the Eskimos at McMahon. 38-12. Edmonton has come back with a vengeance tonight.
Of course, you know, those statistics are all relative to your overall performance.
And I think the Eskimos just be happy to leave this apparent victory lingering in the minds of the Calgary Stampeders.
Penalty is loss of down. It's now 3rd down.
And presuming these two teams will meet somewhere in November when it's a little bit colder and there's a little more on the line. We'll follow the Stampeders home, and they'll host the Las Vegas Posse week tonight at McMahon. We'll have it live on TSN. Here's Harper's punt. Coleman on the return. Markers are down in a hurry, and a minute 21 is on the clock as Michael Souls made the tackle. And there's an injured Stampeder down. And an injured Eskimo. It's Kalen being helped to the Eskimo bench. And I'm not sure who the Stampeder injured down there is. Hard to see a number from this angle. There we go. It's the newcomer, Damon Smith, number 32, Utah State rookie, who got into the game as the designated import tonight on the injury to Kenton Leonard.
Well, these were the offensive leaders in the CFL after week 9, and some pretty impressive statistics up there. Corey Philpotts, to me, after 9 games to have over 1,000 yards rushing is maybe the most phenomenal in that group right there. Flutie, we expected. Alan Pitts has done it before, but for Philpott, my, that's amazing. On the defensive side of things, Les Brown, well, he's like Old Man River. He keeps rolling along. 8 interceptions, leads the league. Charlie Gordon, his teammate, has 6. Larry Ruck, who you saw play tonight, 56 tackles. And Rodney Harding, what a season he is having. They play the BC Lions Sunday afternoon in Toronto, and I don't know, that big trade, Reggie Slack, for Jeff Fields, apparently I hear has been nullified because Slack failed his medical. I don't know why that was contingent, because I don't think Slack could ever pass a medical with his knee.
Yeah, the deal was to be for Jeff Fields and Glenn Young going to the Argos in return for Slack to Hamilton.
But that's tough. His knee, at the best of times, I don't think would pass a medical, so we'll see what materializes with that. Argos could sure use Jeff Fields for some push up front to go along with Rodney Harding.
Damon Smith into the golf cart for a little help to the sidelines here, shaking up on that punt return with a minute 21 to go.
Yeah, things get worse for Calgary. I mean, he's in tonight because Ken Leonard is out, and that meant that Marvin Coleman played. So the injury bug, which hasn't really hurt the Stampeders so much in the first half of the season, maybe starting to take its toll just a little bit. Shreko Zizikovic, of course, did not play tonight, as well as Wilmore, their fine wide receiver. He dislocated a finger in practice, split it wide open, so he is out indefinitely.
Flutie handing off to Stewart, and nothing doing as Bruce Dixon in relief sneaks through to make the tackle there. Number 36, Bruce Dixon. And the Eskimos are getting it from everywhere.
Hey, Wellesley, are you ready for this?
Hockey season starts Monday night, 7:30. Be with us for the Canadians and the Toronto Maple Leafs. Still exhibition, guys, but
nevertheless, it still has a nice ring to it, doesn't it?
It feels like hockey. So
Leafs,
join us for that.
Leafs and Canadians, Monday night.
Loss of 5.
Matt Sundin, want to see him play.
Yeah. And penalty markers are everywhere. Stewart is down with 57 seconds to go. Jed Roberts, number 43, also getting a little late playing time here.
What's funny what one game may do to your entire season. Edmonton kind of on the bubble at this game with 6-3 mark now. A decisive, very convincing win over the highest ranked team in the league, the Calgary Stampeders. This may be the one game that really sets their season on fire.
Yeah, if you looked at the BC Lions standing in second spot right behind the Stampeders and only a point behind. Lions will be in Toronto against the Argos on Sunday. So a win for the Lions, and BC could all of a sudden be first in the West. Tough night for Flutie, and even Alan Pitts has had his moments of dropsies. The usually reliable Pitts covered by Robert Holland there, and Holland is redeeming himself for a week that there were a couple of penalties. He was in the doghouse.
Well, their aggressiveness tonight has really been the difference. They've fought up through the receivers. They've been willing to make the contact necessary to have the Calgary receivers drop the football. And boy, you know, one guy does it, Holland does it, and then all the others want to do it. Glenn Rogers, Ed Barry's made a hit, Murphy's made a hit. Becomes infectious throughout that secondary. You know, you look at Calgary's schedule in their last 8 games, you know, they got a pretty soft schedule. They got Vegas twice, Hamilton twice, and then Ottawa, Shreveport, Sacramento, and BC. So they've got a pretty favorable last 8 games in their schedule.
And Henry Williams has been well covered all night long on his returns. Well, this might be a wake-up call for the Stampeders, sailing along with 8 straight wins after a season-opening loss.
I don't think anybody expected them to go 16-2. And sure, you don't like to lose a game. You don't like to have a lackluster performance, which I think they would admit they had tonight. But nevertheless, maybe it is a good, good wake-up call. You never get the players and the coach to agree to that.
No, you wouldn't.
I think deep down inside, every once in a while, it doesn't hurt to get you back on focus.
But if you're going to lose 1 to Edmonton, better in September than in November.
Yeah, I agree.
38-12 is the score as it stands right now. Zizakovic in on that tackle and halting the Eskimo progress. Eskimos in a bit of a hurry-up offense. If, in fact, 30 seconds means anything to them on the clock right now. They're leading 38-12. Allen has Christensen. 21 seconds remaining. Coleman has the tackle, number 17. Now 21 seconds remaining, and this one is batted down behind the line. Stu Laird, number 75, got a mid on that one. Stay with us right after football for Sports Desk with Michael Landsberg. You'll see how Ron Lancaster beat the Calgary Stampeders tonight after losing 48-15 on Labor Day. He was gunned for this one, wasn't he? You could just kind of tell when you were talking to him today.
Well, there's a lot at stake when you play these back-to-back games. I know for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, they face the same situation at home now, entertaining Saskatchewan after losing the Labor Day game there. And, you know, it's a lot at stake for the home team when you've second game when you've lost the first.
Into the final 15 seconds, Flutie has it picked off. Willie Pless, number 39, has the ball with 11 seconds to go. And that one was Flutie's fault. Tipped at the line. 4th interception of the night tossed up by Doug Flutie. And not one of his better evenings. Commonwealth doesn't agree with him always.
Ron Lancaster just told Damon Allen, 11 seconds, time for 2 plays. Get to the end zone and we win the point differential.
And how many markers are down there? It looks like it's a procedure call against the Eskimos. Still 11 seconds on the clock. It's 38-12. And the Stampeders, putting it politely, have not played well at Commonwealth. Lancaster trying to win the point differential. Total points between these two teams would come into play if, in fact, they ended up tied at the end of the season.
Eskimos first and 15, ball at their own 53.
4 receivers far side on 1st and 15. Allen Allen gets away from the first rush. He's going to run out of time and run out of room on the sidelines.
It's really been interesting to watch the last couple of minutes of this game. You know, traditionally the players wouldn't care. They just want to get out of here alive and, you know, get ready for next week. But with this differential, it has thrown a whole different dimension on this game. And the intensity level with just, you know, 11 seconds to go at the snap of that play has been as high as you've seen all game long. I mean, there's a lot at stake still.
A lot of folks in Edmonton didn't believe that Ron Lancaster would win this football game over the Calgary Stampeders tonight.
Well, John, they deserve a tremendous amount of credit for their creativity on offense tonight. And, you know, with a receiving core that I'm sure they, you know, feel is a little suspect at this point, to use all their other personnel so well around it. I mean, it's a real tribute to the game plan that they put together and the way that Damon Allen and the entire offense executed it to perfection tonight. They should savor it. They should relish it, because it was a victory that I think they're going to remember for some time. And they may say this was the one victory that really put them back on track for their full 1994 season.
And this is going to be something the Calgary Stampeders will think about heading into the playoffs, if in fact they match up against the Edmonton Eskimos in postseason, and there's a decent chance that that will happen, folks. Lancaster gets his revenge at Commonwealth in Edmonton. It was a wet track, and it favored the Eskimos, who clobbered the Stampeders 38-12. Time now for the TSN Turning Point, brought to you by Apple Auto Glass. Lee?
John, it occurred in the first quarter of this game tonight. It was a first interception that Doug Flutie threw. Donnie Wilson picked it off for his first of the year, and I think that gave the Calgary offense a clear indication that this would be an entirely different defense than they played against last Monday.
A cash donation will be made to the Canadian Coaches Association for the training and development of coaches and amateur athletes on behalf of Apple Auto Glass, the pick of the crop from coast to coast. All right, fireworks at Commonwealth. The Eskimos rebound, and Damon Allen back in the winner's circle with Gordon Miller.
Fireworks on the field too. Damon, how gratified are you with this after what happened on Monday?
Well, that was a big game for us. We had to come out and establish ourselves offensively. Our defense played well tonight. We took advantage of opportunities like we did some of the things we would like to do. And I feel good about what we did. We played free. We played attack offense, and we had a lot of fun out there.
What about your performance personally? Did you feel like you had to do some things tonight for this team to win?
Well, I had to be more active, and I wasn't active as much as I was in the last game. And this time around, I wanted to make a difference, set the tone, and make them worry about me a little bit more.
Damon, congratulations. Thanks for talking to us.
Oh, thanks a lot, Gord.
Damon Allen, the victorious quarterback at Commonwealth Stadium, as the Eskimos avenge their Monday loss to the Calgary Stampeders. The CFL Live continues on TSN in just a moment. The CFL Live on TSN. Tonight's game from Edmonton has been brought to you by Pepsi. Be young, have fun, drink Pepsi. And by Mark's Work Warehouse, clothes that work. Next up for us, we'll be at McMahon Stadium in Calgary for the Stampeders and the Las Vegas Posse. It comes your way at 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific, 7:30 local. For all of us at TSN, I'm Gordon Miller. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time on the CFL Live.